My cousin, she tunes in once in a while. Aunt Jackie and Jessica, they throw down. They make the best Caribbean food. Right. You know what it is? It's like, so I'm a big steamed cabbage guy. I love steamed cabbage. Yeah, exactly. And then they do the jerk, right? And they do the curry chicken the best. That's for sure. Oxtail? But if I had to, I'm not the biggest oxtail. Obviously, a little gravy on the rice. I don't mind it, but like I prefer to go with like a salmon, the curry chicken, or the jerk chicken over the oxtail, for sure.
With fried dumpling.
Of course, brother. With fried dumpling.
Little plantain on the side.
Exactly. Boiled dumpling when I'm actually on the island, brother. Yeah, you know how it goes.
All right, now I want to eat. Yeah. Oh, which is that's an interesting coincidence because we can't. It is 11 o'clock already.
Is it?
I see.
Oh wow.
Why does it say? You're not doing. You doing both? You doing all day?
It's me, man. All day.
I didn't know you were doing all day.
You guys get it.
Bro, I didn't know you were putting in work.
We're putting in work here.
So we'll let him matriculate over there for a quick second. We'll give you a quick little update on what's going on because obviously the big story, inside day for the market, I think probably the biggest story was the single post. I don't want to say tweet, but the post from the president and Palantir catching a bid. Finally, the buyers have come back to Palantir. And all it took was a mention by President Trump. Fresh lows. Look, the timing of that right when it is trying to bounce support. But can it hold? That's going to be the big question there for sure. Oh, I should see what happened to Ray. I know you guys are probably going to talk about this. Did I really jinx it? Please tell me I didn't. And go back to the highs for everybody. See? Haha. What's up now? It did get to $1. I didn't jinx anything. It did get to $1, so good luck anyone that's trading that one. We'll throw it on over. I'm going to get some fried chicken at some point. I don't know if it's here already, but if it is, I'll be eating it right quick. And we're going to throw you over to, well, it's going to be Joey Options again, but also the professor himself, Sharif, who's got the best tan basically in the office for probably quite some time here. Sharif, you're not playing around. We'll be back at 2 o'clock. Good luck, everybody.
Boom, 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 and boom. Ooh. Greetings and salutations, beautiful people. Welcome to the midday show. He's getting ready, but you already saw him. That's your boy Joey Options. I'm Sharif. And let's say hello to everybody because I was kind of in a trade a little bit yesterday. I didn't really get to do the hello, how are you? I'm back from vacation as well as I should have. Buy low, sell lower. I love the name, Mr. Lame is the trader. It feels like that sometimes, though, Joey, straight up, bro. My man Bovin, we got Hangry Wife, we got the OG Scott, Andrew Chow, Los Polos, frickin' Hermanos, man. Grant Ratcliffe joining us as well. Cash Flow Elite. We got Dino Vincere, probably butchered that. Popla Cork. I ain't touching alcohol for a while. I promise you that. James Varoon. We got Texas Boy 1979 and King Clutch joining us as well. Max Bet all in. He's all in, baby. Loka Babu. Hello. Kirk D, MF Dangerous. We got Mike the Stock Impaler. Shout out to my man Ichiro. Happy Friday. Right back at you, baby. TT Mash joining us as well. The OG Gorev No Bag Trader. I like that. I like that. Take a little shot at yourself there. Emra Akman, Timo the Day Trader. Shout out to you. How about Bedrock Painting? We got my man Paul the Gamer 12. Shout out to my man Randy Worms. And Habibi Ahmed. Hope everybody is having a great morning. I'm already in a trade, so let's get right down to work because I want to talk a little bit about this one, not ZNTL, but square foot, okay? SQFT. This is square foot, and you know, it doesn't look like it's breaking out, right? But what I did notice on Mr. Square Foot over here is that it's got this gnarly, long-ass, you know, higher low kind of situation that it's been putting in. And so if it wants to kind of continue with this higher low, despite the fact that, you know, every time it pops in a day's high or area highs, it gets slapped with a little bit of a sell. It's got some higher lows, obviously. So that's what I'm going to try to play on this one for a possible move into 435. That is the technical high of day, but as you'll notice on the left side of your chart, 4 a.m. took us all the way to 510. Not on a lot of volume, but 183,000 shares nonetheless. We'll keep an eye out on this one. I'm in. It doesn't say I'm in, but I'm in at 405. So I'm involved in that one at the moment. We're talking about square foot, but there's so many others, right? I was very, very close to punching in here on ZNTL. This candle right here, so the 1055 candle on ZNTL, this didn't actually look like that. You know, it closed that way, but it was actually forming as a bottoming tail kind of hammer candle. I saw it about 6 1/3. I came to punch, and the second I finished my calculations, which did not take long, let me tell you, this thing was in the mid 40s. And I'm like, I'm not going to get in because I know that 6.5 is right there where we had resistance initially at 10 o'clock. If I'm going to get in now, it's either going to be on a clear area pullback or a decided move and a break, a clean break and a hold above 6.5, knowing that the sellers are likely going to weasel in and around that area. So we're going to keep a very close eye on ZNTL. Good trade for me yesterday on ZNTL. So second day play. For me anyway, I don't know if it was running multiple days, and I kind of don't care. Raya, obviously, we have to talk about Raya. And I have an affinity for this name as Arsenal's goalkeeper, the great, the legendary David Raya, spells it this way as well. Shout out to my man, David Raya. Anyway, so 90 pennies, give or take. This one did momentarily breach that dollar area with a 101 high. But as you can see, no closing prints, number one, above 1. Number 2, anything above 97. We have not closed that way, at least on the 5-minute chart. So we know for a fact that the selling or the profit taking and or both is coming in quite aggressively at this level. We need to be accounting for that. So my suggestion is you're looking for 1 or 2 trades off a pullback like we're at right now above the 10 EMA, or you're looking for that clean, very decisive break above $1. There goes square foot frickin' Joseph right through the highs. We packed the frickin' patience on this one. We're holding the move. We got 405 on. We just wet the beak at 425. Square foot has got a 435 high, but they're selling coming in at the $0.25. Unsurprised completely by that. But we're looking for a move here, Joey. We want to get above that 930 candle. That is the implied balance high. It also acts as the official's day high. But I want to tell you, we've been above this level at 4 a.m., but it was a long time ago, and it was not with that kind of volume. But we're keeping a close eye here on square foot, taking some profits, still holding substantial amount, and we're looking around. Let me know when you're ready.
Yeah, oh, brother, yeah, you were spieling on. I was been ready to go, man. Take a breather. We're going to do a couple more shoutouts. Let me fix my good old sweater over here as well. I mean,
you
guys,
got a sweater?
Man. Yeah, of course, man. You know we always
you got a sweater.
Always, man. You know, brother, if it's not 25 degrees, I'm slightly chilly. I prefer to be warm, essentially. But guys, Palantir, this one's been working for us. We'll go 2 for 2 on this Palantir trade. I would have liked to have a little bit more of a precise entry around that 126.50 mark, right? But a little bit of a chase, 50 cents there. I was willing to give it $1. So then essentially we wait for a 1-to-1 and we take it off a little bit north of that. But Palantir has definitely been the trade. Shout out to Donald Trump, man. Just throw out a couple more tickers for us. And we'll look. We'll look for those potential trades. Yeah, exactly. So I mean, by all means, the more tickers you throw out, the more we're gonna like it. We have NVDA up almost 3%, now up to 189. So this name has been on an absolute monster run. But first things first, I want to give a shout out to our couple of our viewers here on TikTok.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, exactly. We got Daniel Torres, William West 925, Ahmed, Miss Slightly Geeky. Okay, we like that one. Miss Chris, what's up, Miss Chris? Hope everything's going good. We have Carlito's Way. Zoe, I
used to know Miss Chris.
You know a Miss Chris?
I used to.
All right. Miss Grizzly Beats. You didn't meet a Miss Chris, did you?
No.
Oh, okay. I know them.
Chris.
All right, but you didn't
see.
All right,
no, lately?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. Charles Farley, Ingrid Lopsy, from red to green, Journey 1. We like that one. I think the best ticker of the day, or the best name of the day, is sell or buy low, sell lower. It's definitely that one, man. That's something. Maybe we got to start doing that. The best best header of the day, like or the week, maybe, like the best username.
Oh, the username.
Right? So
yeah, man. There's some good ones out there.
Yeah, get people using their brains. Aside from that, guys, I mean, we had this short earlier on the TQQs. That one worked out for us. A couple attempts on Bitcoin, but it's continuing to climb, so we just avoid that one. We kick it to the curb, essentially, and then we look for some other opportunities, and we're thankful for Mr. Donald Trump here today for pointing out Palantir, because at some point, you have to go long. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Joseph. No, but other than that, man, it's been a really good trade here. It might come back against us. We're about 40 cents ITM, which isn't bad. We had $1 right there, and then we got $1 all the way up here, but we didn't lock that in necessarily, so it's been a pretty good move. Nonetheless, Sharif's got a couple of the small cap names. I'm looking at Rhea as well. There was Craig this morning, and then AIXI, which I haven't looked at just yet. I'm going to run through my scanner to see if there's any high probability opportunities or something that I really like to take advantage of. With that being said, we got a lot of time. You got a lot of time with me, and we want to put on some good trades like we have in Palantir.
Well, that's a fact. That's going to happen because, well, we know Joey Opsh, he brings the heat, baby. All right, here's what happened. Square foot, she's a mad one. But, you know, that's kind of the way that these ones work. Assassino. But here we go again. So I'm back in at 04s, got stopped out, full disclosure, for the last remaining amount, got right back in as I saw a liquidity grab. Now we're doing it live. We got 04s. I just wet the beak at 12s, looking for the move now into 18s. I stop out now a bit tighter. Okay, because we're gonna have to keep an eye on this one because it's clearly a bamboozler. So looking for another move now into 18s, and then I think we may have an opportunity here to test 20 again. Full disclosure, I'm going in smaller share size this time around. So this move here into 423, that was my 1R. So we made 1-to-1 on the majority of the position, got stopped out on the last remaining amount, got back in for a smaller size, and now we're looking for another move back into the high teens. So keeping a close eye on that one. Square foot red candle dropped a foot, I know, brother. But funny enough, it ended up being a doji candle, and funny enough, even funnier, I should say, it closed green. So here it is back into 13-ish, but getting some selling here. Now, I want to talk about some others, but I want this trade to resolve. UCAR, Grunfeld says, yeah, you and Bovin are talking about UCAR. So that's the second person now that's mentioned UCAR for me, to me, excuse me. So UCAR is making a move here, and there you go on the 5. So this was a big mover, I guess, the day before I got back in the aftermarket, moved, I guess, late and in the aftermarket, both. And then sold off to no end yesterday. We're trying to recover a little bit today. We're above the afternoon high, which was about 220. So we just got up into 235, give or take. Where does that take us? So we're going to likely encounter resistance at 250. There was a bottom there in the pre-market yesterday. And then the implied balance high took us to about 275. So that is something we need to be looking out for there on UCAR. So I'd say 50 and then 75 are the levels you're looking for there as resistance. And by extension of that, you should be looking at wetting your beak on some profits, baby. Well, you know, if you're not taking profits, then what are you doing? So that's what I'm looking at now. There are ZNTLs pulling back into the 10 EMA, and that could be of interest to me because the 10 EMA is at 617. We have a 3-candle red setup. Lower highs, lower lows, still brings us above the 10 EMA. If I was to get in here, I'd likely have to give it to 6. So, on ZNTL, current bar low is 621. We're at 27s. 10 EMA is about 618 on ZNTL. And then VWAP and 6, they're overlapping. So that's an interesting one as well. Okay, I have to give that a bit more thought. While I give that some thought, let me tell you about this one as well. CUE, simple ticker, cheap price, 39 pennies, up 33%, looking real good. There's a buyer at 38. There was certainly a seller at 38. Look at that, 1, 2, 3, 4 rejections at 38. Now you got 1, 2, 3 support at 38. CUE is worth a look, 41 penny high. What are you looking at, Joey?
All right, let's find that out right now, brother. I mean, we got Rhea, Palantir, that broke through that previous pivot, 128.20. That's not too bad. And I was just talking to Gorb in the chat saying essentially, like, what's going on here with Tesla? The whole session, I mean, the market isn't the cleanest price action, but, I mean, this thing has been painful to sit through. Why? Because I'm not positioned well. Typically, I want to get the lower end of the range here. We didn't get that around 1032, and then you can just sell this range. But the longer it chops around, to be honest with you, I think the more likely and the higher probability of a potential breakdown, unless the market decides to go on a big-time rally, right? There's 0 supply zones through specific levels here on Tesla. Through 347. 0. There's literally nothing that we've seen on the options chain. So, with that being said, if there's actual demand and maybe the sell program turns off, then I think that we have the ability to climb. here in Tesla. And I think that's what I want to look for. Considering the accumulation phase has been so long, if it really breaks out, what we tend to go by and say is typically, hey, the longer the accumulation phase, maybe the more sustained the move and the bigger the break can actually be. And if that's going to be the case, and if we're going off of that thesis, then we want to look to add a little bit to this trade. Palantir has been pretty good. We traded up to 128.50, starting to pull in a little bit. Be cautious of the volatility. I had to go a little bit smaller, so I don't have too much size on this one. Considering we're going to hold till 129, we're in at 127. So a couple bucks, we take our last little bit out, and who knows, this thing can trend all day. You have to take into consideration how much it's been selling as of late, right? It was down like 39%. That's crazy off of its highs. The software name's getting absolutely destroyed, but shout out to, once again, our boy, our guy, Donald Trump, essentially saying Palantir. So a couple more tickers thrown out, as I said before, would be pretty good. I know Sharif's got his small cap named SQFT. I see that one up there with 42 million shares traded on the day. Why does it keep doing that to me? And then there was also AIXI. Let's pull up that name that was treating us well last week. And there's multiple buying opportunities. As for the most volume, Craig has definitely surpassed, and it had that volatility spike all the way up here. And the stock doubles. Wow. Did you try Craig today, Sharif?
Sorry, 1 second.
Yeah, no worries. Anyways, AIXI with 103 million shares, not doing too much, but the volume is most definitely in. And then there's Rhea, not doing too much. But maybe if it holds up, you have that inverse head and shoulders. If only I can flip this whole chart around, you get a continuation to the top side. Just have to be prepared to get out. You have to give this one probably to the lower end of this structure. So where we're currently sitting at, 20 cents to be safe, and that can happen in a single swipe. So trading these small caps it's definitely something new to learn about.
Guys, Q's breaking out. This is ripping here, and we got a big position on Q. So Q's really going. I've already taken 1R on this one, so here we go. We're gonna wet the beak a little bit more to de-risk over here on Q. I don't know why it's not filling me. As it comes down, that's so frustrating. When I say get out, get out. All right, here we go. Coming back down, topping tail. Watch out here for Q, guys. So this was a big move, and I had my stop, as I explained, through 38. That's clearly a buyer at 38 in the same way that there was clearly a seller. It pops up into 45. In fact, my 1R on this one was 43. So we took more than 1R at the top there. Let's see if this one can run into half. You don't really typically get into 45 and then say, sorry, 50, maybe next time. So I got a bit of a bias here that we move in to that 50 penny area. Let's keep an eye on that one. Sorry to interrupt you, Joey. But ZNTL, I'm still holding square foot, looking for a move back in. But ZNTL, I got into this one. So this one showed me a 3-bar pullback and then the first 5-minute candle to make a new high. On ZNTL, my 1R is 646. So let's go ahead here on ZNTL, and we're going to put half the position at 646. So like that. So it's about 10 pennies from here, and then we're going to let this one run. I like the look of ZNTL's jib, but I'd like even better if it's to be able to decisively clear that $0.50, 652 high. It's had no closing prints above the $0.50. I stop out at current bar low, the low of which is, I believe I put it at 27s or 28s. So something to look out for there. Sorry to interrupt you, Joe.
Yeah, I mean, there goes Palantir. I think we're going to break this 129 mark at this point, just the pace that it's on, and we're climbing up there. And then, I mean, the next target would be up here in the 130s. I think that's totally achievable here, considering strong bid, strong ask. Well, we're going to put on our quote highlight and see what we can pull up. We got to make it a little bit smaller, just due to the fact of the value of this name. So we'll pull this up. We'll put up 1,000 shares to see if we see anything, and nada. We got to go even smaller. 500. There it is. Bang, let's go Palantir, man. This has definitely been the better trade. Would have liked to get in precise at 126.49. That's the ideal entry. Why? Let's break it down a little bit and head into some more detail, and we can see it a little bit more clear. We're going to toss this Rhea small cap to the side and then look at some other names like Palantir and some of the larger and focus on a couple. So there it is. This is where we're long off of. Up here, we get the 127 fill, and then off to the races it goes. A nice steady incline. This trend is still fully intact. And then where can we also get out? At the break of the trend line, okay? So if it breaks that 128 mark, then see you later. Tesla doesn't know if it's coming or going, essentially. Like it's like, hey, I don't really know what to do with my life today. It's Friday. We're checked out. Nothing going on with Elon world until maybe we can get somewhat of a, okay, so there it is, right? So the whole session, when the market is kind of channeling up, Tesla's moving eastbound. That's all it's doing, and that's what it's been doing all day. And the longer that it accumulates and it doesn't break through this, whatever this supply zone is, and we looked on the options chain and we've seen absolutely nothing, I don't really know what else to say for Tesla other than we're gonna break down. Because there's no demand north of that 347 mark. Like zero. No one wants the stock at that level. Robinhood was looking pretty good for a potential bounce. Nice hammer print right at VWAP, but also we have to take into fact that there is a downtrend. Wait for the 5 minute to sit on the opposite side of it. And then sure enough, maybe off to the races we can go in Robinhood. Had a pretty good session yesterday, especially off this bounce low. Goes past the opening price and then continues to climb, puts in a new high of the day. What do you got, Shree?
Nothing, brother. I'm just talking to myself.
Okay. All right. I thought when you get to punching keys there, I know that you definitely have something.
Well, I set up orders and stuff like that.
Yeah. You have something building up. Anyways, aside from that, we'll keep it cool. Bitcoin still continuing to climb. I'm gonna I gotta take Tesla off, man. This thing's gonna break down. As soon as we establish a new low of the day, we're at a dodge on Tesla. There's no point in holding on to it, considering what we will do. We do have Bitcoin. I don't know if we're gonna get that reversion, but you're starting to see a double top being formed at that 4150. With that being said, let's pull up the chain and see if there's any form of supply zone. I don't wanna jump from too many stocks because when I personally tend to do that, it's not good. We've been cooking up in Palantir, and that's all we really need right now. If Tesla wants to cooperate, we add, like we said, at the break of the supply zone, and then we get out of dodge. Let's pull up IBIT and see what we have at that 4150 mark, 11,900. That next level could be around $42. So let's see if that's going to come into factor. Tesla putting in a nice hammer candle off of these lows. If this can be sustained and we can get a bounce off of that, I don't want to add too much, but that's a pretty good signal for us to get to the top end of the range. Breaks 1040. See you later. We're out of dodge. We're looking for something else.
All right, back in the queue. Here's the move back up. Looking to scalp a little bit here. My 1R is at 46 now. So let's see if we can get up back in the queue. A bit of a bamboozling topping tail candle, but we had that same buyer step in this time at 39. So a little bit higher. Looks like now maybe shadowing the 10 EMA on the 5 as opposed to maybe that 38 buyer that we saw earlier. So let's go ahead, set up another small beak wetter at 43. There's 43 that prints. Let's set up another beak wetter at 44, still holding the great majority of the position. Let's see if we can kind of work up back into that 44.86, essentially a 45 high. It looks like a great looking candle now on the 5, but we'll have to see what kind of strength we can get here continuation wise on CUE. Bit of a cheaper stock, right? 43 pennies, still south of the $0.50, but it's done a decent amount of volume. I gotta tell you, the volume isn't as great as one would like for a name like this, but the volume is picking up substantially now, and there is 44 again. We're still holding a large majority of the position. Let's go ahead and wait at 45 next. 44.86, 45 incoming, 45 very close, just showed up momentarily there, and we get the print at 45, Joey. That is now the day high. CUE is continuing to run up. I think this one makes it to the $0.50. We just got to shake that annoying 45, seller back down into 44.5. So I didn't have my fixed risk and reward, so it's fluctuating here, but we'll see what we can get on this one. So right now we have a double top at 45, okay? And initially it was 44.86. Now we're seeing a 45 seller come in. I want to see if we can basically move into 50 without a great deal of bamboozlement in the same way that we just saw, right? With that topping tail candle that precedes this current candle on the 5-minute chart. Here comes 45 again. Can we print above 45? We haven't been able to on the day. Limit up is 56. Not that I'm thinking limit up at the moment, but yeah, that is the situation. I got stopped out on ZNTL, and that's really frustrating because it's making the move right back up. But it would have stopped me out anyway because it lost all the levels that I had my stops at. You know, some of them are going to be bid non-compliant, as Luis Barbero would say. Shout out to the man, Luis. But we're doing okay here on Q. I don't want to take out the majority of the position until we're closer to 50, right? Now we see that 40 buying. Look, initially, it got in at the same level, got back in at the same level. But we're getting that 45 seller. We're not getting the move as aggressively as one would like. But you don't move into 45. I just have a bias that you usually get a little bit closer to that $0.5 level. That's my bias, and I'm gonna wait for it, Joey.
Sorry, brother. Something might be going on. You can go right on. I just want to bring this back up. We don't have Luis today.
Yeah, he is. He's in the chat, my boy.
No, I'm saying on the show.
No, but he's in the chat.
He's in the chat. He's always in the chat.
I am here, my brother. I love when he's here, man.
He's in NVDA, putting in a new high of the day. This thing's up to $190. Options chain, cool. No, you don't need to ask anymore. Let's take a look at this one and see what we have. 190, what is it telling us? All right, 97,000. Watch out for this level. If the supply is absorbed, off to the races we go in NVDA, even though it's been trend up all day. And there goes Palantir up to 129. That's $2 right there. Sharif will take that one.
Get it, Joey.
We just need this garbage Tesla to start moving as the market put in a new high of the day. We typically say a rising tide lifts all ships. Yeah. That doesn't seem to be the case because this cyber cab isn't calling my name right now. It's not following what the overall market is. So boo-hoo Tesla.
There goes Q into another area high. We're waiting now at 46. I'm trying to hold the position into 50. We've got a good one on this one, but we need to pack the patience here as I feel we have the shorts on the rope. Now, are we going to be able to outdo the shorts at 50? That one, I don't think we can answer as clearly until we see a little bit more around that 50 penny level. Continuing to wait, seeing 45s and a half. And as you see on my time in sales, see when the green and the orange come in, it's like madness. It's good for the longs. Here comes 46 again, and here's selling at 46 again. So we're aggressive selling right into that key level. We'll take it out here. We'll cancel the other order, and now we're moving it up to 47. Let's see what we can get on this one. 46 still showing up here, but the selling is quite aggressive. Now, last time, there goes 46, Joey. We're on the way up. We're doing it live. I love small caps, man. What an exciting batch of stocks to trade. They can be quite frustrating, too. So that's not...
Every stock can be quite frustrating.
Yeah, trading in general, I think, Joey, we can all agree can be frustrating. There's 46. That's another area high there. There's 47 at the door. We get the print at 47. We're going to 48s, Joe. Let's go. Let's see if we can take out 48s. We're still holding a good amount. Now, I've got about, I want to say 40% of the position left, but we're looking for a little bit more now. We're looking for 48s. Down below 47 we go. 58%. Q is looking good. I'm going to stay on this one until it tells me, sorry, Sharif. This is as good as I'm going to get for you on a Friday, bro.
And this ain't doing too much.
RDP.
I need to take a breath.
Woke up with my TSM NVIDIA calls up. Holy, top of the morning. Shout out to you. Shake your hand right back at you, my friend. It feels good to wake up and to see some of your positions doing well. Anybody take a look at Broadcom today? Okay, anybody look at LITE, Lumentum today? Anybody have a look at Bloom Energy today? Just saying.
You have those?
All of them. You know I have all of them.
That was a rhetorical question, my friend. Come on, man.
Yes.
Other than that, man, I mean, let's go Palantir. There's definitely strength. I would love to have more size in this than what we did, but you have to take essentially what you have. This thing's going to be monstrous. Like, look at the tape. It's going to punch through. There you go. Printing 2903s on Palantir. 127 we're long. Thank you, Donald, as we continue to climb. I have to wait till 1:30 to take my last little. Yeah, brother, why not? I don't have that, the diamond hands, but we'll give a shout out to Deontay Wilder. Dude, you know
they're fighting. Up? You know that Tyson Fury's fighting, right?
Yeah, I don't know who he's fighting. That's the thing about boxing. I have no idea who that guy is. You know that guy?
Yeah, I see a little. I had to look into him a little bit because they were.
See, that's the thing. If you have to look into him like that, he's not.
But Usyk, did you see that guy Usyk's fighting in Egypt?
Yeah.
He's a kickboxer.
He's a kickboxer.
Yeah, he's fighting the heavyweight champion of the freaking world. He's a kickboxer.
Dude, listen, Edgar Berlanga signs with Zuffa.
I heard about that.
Yeah, bro. So a lot of these guys. So
I know you love Berlanga because
bro, I love Berlanga, and he's a straight Puerto Rican. He's a gangster, man. I like that. But he lost. He lost to Canelo. He got dropped a couple times. times.
Well,
but
yeah.
he was heavy-handed. I mean, the majority of people lose to Canelo Alvarez.
Exactly.
Aside from that, guys, a nice little move. We're going to wait for 130 in Palantir, considering there's no reason to get out of this trade just yet, but there is going to be a reason relatively soon for us to get out of this Tesla trade if it breaks this 345 support. Someone was saying we get back to 348 today. I don't think that's going to be the case. Could I be totally wrong? Absolutely. And for my case in the position and everybody who else decided to go long here for their situation, but just look, we just continuously bounce. It's not participating in anything. And if the selling in the NASDAQ steps in, well, most definitely considering where we're sitting right now, you have to take that in. The fact that, hey, you're going to break through this support and the buying pressure isn't strong whatsoever. 5-minute open south of that, we're at a dodge, but we're going to hold on to Palantir. Before we send it off, Shri.
Guys, Rappel, 48.82. It's at 49. This is where the trouble could hit. The sellers, the profit takers, they're going to come in at this level. So be ready, okay? I'm not saying it's not going to clear 50, but if you don't want to take the risk and you want to take profits, this is the area, okay? We're going right there.
Couple news updates first. I want to let you guys know that I'm just hearing that the Iranian delegation is apparently going to be participating in tomorrow's negotiations, even though Iran made some statements about Lebanon. So again, it looks like these negotiations are potentially going to happen tomorrow with Iran. I have to talk about AAPL as well. Replimune Group. Looks like this one's been halted since around 11 a.m. Someone in the chat mentioned this. I did a deep dive into this. Looks like as of earlier this morning, though I'm only starting to see it reported like a couple minutes ago, FDA has declined to approve Replimune's drug for advanced skin cancer. So FDA denial, REPL unfortunately dropping pretty sharply on that. Now let's talk about crypto for this crypto update. So Bitcoin, nice look today, continuing to curl up here, but we're still facing some resistance. That March 17th high here of just above 76,000. So that's going to be a resistance level right now, trading around 72.7. Let's go in the weekly chart, see how we're doing here. So yeah, I mean, this weekly, again, really the only area of resistance that we have next year is going to be that 76K. So let's see if we have a smooth sailing for the next 3,500 until we get to that 76K mark, or if we run into further resistance later today, depending what the market does. Again, Ethereum really mirroring Bitcoin in terms of its start action. So with that in mind, on the weekly, our next level of resistance is going to be that high from the same week for Ethereum. That's going to be 23.86, currently trading around 22.36. Make sure to like and subscribe if you're enjoying the content. We're going to send you back over to the guys.
How many cents what's your average price on that? What price is it right now? What price is it?
We going sizzle. I'm going to hit it, Joey.
What is it? You hit it?
Hold on, man.
Oh, I thought you were going to hit the dollar club. What's the trading at right now? It's at 55 cents.
Yeah. Got to 40.
Oh, okay, that's good.
Fantastic.
That's good. That's good.
Fantastic,
okay, let's get out of this Tesla. It's garbage.
There goes Q, 56.83. Guys, I had my next profit taker at 57, but it didn't let me in. Okay, Bovin, I have to cover SKYQ because it is moving. SKYQ is making an aggressive move here. I'm just trying to keep my eye on Q. So there's SKYQ and then there's CUE. Look at SKYQ Gold. This is very, very clean. Bovin, you know what I especially like about this? Look at the double top at the implied balance open, okay? Right into that, let's just call it 9 area. Technically, it's 890, right? So let's just say there's 9 resistance. We lose it, it's of interest to nobody. Until, of course, it starts making that rounded bottom shape, right? That U-looking shape. And then look at this. You don't immediately clear 9 with that vigor. You get above it, but what I really like about that is that it starts using 9, guys, as support. And look at it rip up. 1027. This thing was just at 10. Guys, SKYQ is on a rampage. 1034. Oh my days, Dracos. 1035. The breakout is on here on SKYQ. Great call out by Bovin. And great call out by all you guys. You guys have been killing it today. Dragos is a look at the future. You guys know where that's from? I know you don't because you don't like Rocky.
You just I was gonna say.
You don't like
I
Rocky
know
Balboa.
I know who Drago is though.
You know, but you don't know where this is from. So that he had a promoter that's coming in from the USSR, and he's trying to promote him in the United States as like the next coming of you know who, right?
Yeah.
But then he's like talking about Rocky. He's like, Drago, shouldn't even fight this man because he is a has-been. Drago is a look the future.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Right. So it's like that's where it's from. Shout out to my man Drago. Another big day, fellas. $21,000 so far. Here's some cash for the weekend. Peace, he says. I love how he's just like, he just drops money. He's like, peace, yeah. I made my money, I'm out. Drago, really appreciate it, brother.
11:30, man. I know what Chicago's like, so don't go out and spend it all in one place. All right, at least diversify your spending. You know what I mean, Sharif?
I must break you.
Yeah, he never said dollars, could be rupees. Yeah, fair Wendy's. But I think my boy's in
India?
No, he's in Chicago.
Oh, okay. I heard rupees.
Well, no, because that's what Wendy's Tendy said. It's doll hairs. Did your parents ever get you with that one? Do you want 21 doll hairs?
No. You got caught with that one?
Yeah, all the time, man.
Nah, man. My dad would always say money doesn't grow on trees. And then I went to work with him one day, and he took me in. He was doing like the deposit for work or whatever. And it was at CIBC. I won't ever forget it. And there was a big-ass tree on top of the counter.
Made out of money.
No, and they stapled money to the branches. And he's like, yo, get this thing out of here. What are you trying to teach my son, man?
Bring back the $2 bill.
$2 bill.
Stream is saying. Those were good times. I was just a young individual at that point.
I still have one, bro.
You still have one? You still have a $2 bill? Nice,
an original, bro.
Good stuff. The loon is on that one, right?
Loon. It's brown, and it is a loon.
Yeah, the loon.
It is a loon.
Okay. No memory of Idera, but I mean, we can remember a couple of things.
That's all right.
All right. Amazon, how are you doing? Starting to come back in. And I think that's with the overall market. There's been some aggressive selling stepping in. I mean, same with Bitcoin, guys. Bitcoin had a massive 5-minute engulfing print. You can see that this past half an hour of buying just evaporated essentially in 5 minutes and continuing to slide a little bit here. I think that the news, we can continue to climb. If we get indecision prints south of VWAP, then we're going to start rocking and rolling there. I like what we have going on. And we were talking a little bit about it this morning via Bitcoin and a potential spread. This is the day where you wouldn't even want to buy or short that call option. You would just rather have gone with the bull put. And that's what we were talking about earlier, is that I think the one that you're going to collect the more premium has the more potential for a return. With premium collection, that's the max you can make. And then you'd also want to have a stop on the short call side. So that would have been really bad because essentially those contracts have doubled. We're going to take a look at them momentarily as soon as we get back from Madeira.
You're hearing a couple of contradictory reports from the U.S. and the White House, including President Trump, on Iran. So for one, New York Post reporting that President Trump said that the U.S. is, quote, loading up the ships and they're prepared to resume strikes if Iran talks fail. He said, we're going to find out in about 24 hours. So I guess you're going to have this meeting with Steve Witkoff, Jared Kushner, and Vice President J.D. Vance in Islamabad. If that doesn't go well, I guess he's ready for a military response. But then at the same time, we're getting reports from Fox News suggesting that the White House is saying that they're optimistic that a deal can be reached. So super back and forth. I mentioned this because oil is hitting intraday highs. But yeah, it looks like President Trump has reportedly a backup plan should these talks not go well tomorrow.
I'd hope so.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope.
Okay, Joey. Guys, SKYQ is really going here. It's not stopping. It's through the $0.50 now. 1061 high. This is SKYQ, not CUEQ. This is probably on the way to 11 here. 11.28 limit up. Not that I'm thinking limit up quite yet. Here it is again at 62 pennies off the highs. This is making a move. How you get in here, being this extended, always kind of bamboozles me. You could get in and give it to current bar low. That's really the only thing that I can think of. Otherwise, you got to be looking at the 5-second chart to spot areas of clear support and resistance. This is what I mean by that. Come on, bro. Oh, there we go. This is the 5-second chart here. You can kind of see higher highs. So it looks like there's a 1040 buyer, initially a seller. So 1040 could be an interesting area. Also 1010 seem to be encountering a lot of buys. It's losing that level right now. 1035 it goes. Let's see if it holds up at this 50 moving average on the 5-second chart. This is SKYQ. So it's stuck here at 1035. If it can bounce back above 40, well, there it goes, back into 43. So that 40-ish buyer stepping back in on SKYQ. This is the 5-second chart, guys, and the reason I use it is just for the reasons I've articulated before, to spot localized areas of support and resistance when, you know, it gets away from you know, the levels that you got on the 5 or the 1 or however you chart. You can try to spot more areas of support and resistance, I would say, at those levels. What are you looking at, Fabian? Oh, you can look at, got me, like you're looking at my computer?
Okay, hold on. Let me finish this this thing here on IBIT. So essentially, guys, you can see this contract went from from $16 to $21, but then also the short call, the short put. So you're essentially long from here is now dropped $10 in value. Okay, so this is what I just wanted to point out, where I believe that the bull put spread was the way to go with that one, opposed to just actually putting in the condor. I mean, if you want to sell it now, it'd be looking pretty good. At the peak, it would have been worth a little bit more, but that's not necessarily the case. We can find the exact value of it, of what it was approximately 15 minutes ago, and see how much it's decreased from that point. This isn't the most liquid, but $26 down to $22 in that short call for IBIT. Market continuing to slide here.
Guys, another intraday high for Q, 58 pennies. Here we go. We just took it out at 57. Now we're looking for 60. CUE is ripping up, as is SKYQ. They're both moving. SKYQ still substantially less up on the day than CUE, which is now dallying here with 100% on the day. So I think we've cleared 50. I got to tell you. And then when we cleared 50, we came back down and defended 50. Take a gander at this move. So we got up into about 57. We dropped back down, held 50 to the T. And then there's another intraday high, as I mentioned, into 58. So CUE is doing its thing, 25 over here. Let's see if we can get up a little bit more into 60. Full disclosure, I'm not holding a large position anymore. We've taken out the majority of the position. So now we're going to kind of ride the trend to see where this one will go. And the next liquidity tester that I've got out there is 60 pennies. But it probably should behoove me to start focusing on SKYQ, because it held 40 and held 40 pretty well. And here comes 62 again. There is 62 and now there is 64. The breakout is on here on SKYQ. It's probably headed to 11. You know, if you had to guess, usually you have that magnetic effect to the whole dollar. It's not a hard and fast rule, just one from experience, but it doesn't look like it's ready, to take off in the same way that it was before, I want to say, from around 11:20 to 11:30. Those were the three monster candles you're seeing on the bottom right of your screen right there. It seems to encounter a lot more selling at these levels, which is fine. But, when that big seller comes out of the way in the mid to low 60s, this one could squeeze into 75, maybe dilly-dally in 75 penny land, and then find its way on to 11. So this one will certainly be in focus for me. It's a little extended for me to work into at the moment, but definitely has a lot of strength and one that deserves my respect. I want to also mention ZNTL, on which I'm red on the day, is right back at VWAP. Now, I have a little post-traumatic stress disorder from this bad boy. I jest, of course, but it's at 6. And volume weighted average price is 597. I typically like these situations where VWAP, an oft-respected technical indicator, overlaps with that psychological area of support and resistance. We're talking about, of course, the whole dollar at 6. But it's not a hard and fast rule, like most things in trading. So what I'm going to wait for is the closing of this candle, the opening of another candle, and then I'll wait for the subsequent candle to make a new high above these ones, above the current candle, the high of which is 607. So let's see what we can get on that bad boy. I don't mind waiting a little bit on ZNTL because I haven't performed well on it today. I had a good trade on it yesterday, but didn't do well on this one today. So I'm going to steer clear a little bit here, Joey, and wait for the better setup.
Yeah, people asking, like, why is Tesla selling? I mean, it's a tough look in Tesla right now. That's why we got out of that trade. I'm glad that we got out of it a long time ago when it broke that 345 level. Get a little pop and it's just like, see you later. Zero participation on the long side, then we just get out of Dodge and look at something else. The market's sliding. Bitcoin, yeah, big time. If Bitcoin breaking through the volume-weighted average price, and same, we had the SPY that was relatively stronger than the Nasdaq this morning and heading right back towards the low of the day. So we'll keep our eyes on it. Maybe we'll find somewhat of a bounce. The chop is in without any form of questioning. Yeah, TSL is, yeah, it's garbage. It's garbage, Gaurav. Anyways, AMD looks like it's just below the volume-weighted average price. I mean, it shouldn't look. It either is or it isn't. Let's pull up AMD and see what we have there. Okay, yeah, mine's not working on there. We can pull it up on this one and see what we have. AMD, and then we have AMDL, just in case you're curious. Thanks to the individuals I'm reminding me about that leverage product here, as AMD is still up 2% here today. 4%, sorry, what am I talking about? And looking pretty good and strong. It was really, really strong out of the gate, but coming in with the rest of the market. Let's look for some indecision prints around these lows for a potential bounce. The chop is in. You have that 15 minutes worth of selling. Now, where can we climb to? I'm not saying that we're going to establish a new high of the day or anything along those lines, but I think we can get relatively close to that, especially if this is going to continue to be a headline-sensitive market.
President Trump go after Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, and everybody
I thought Tucker was his boy for a bit.
Yeah, he went to the White House. I think they're falling off.
What happened?
He had like a page-long attack on Tucker, Candace, Megyn Kelly.
These are all supposed to be his supporters.
They're all right-wing or right-leaning commentators.
So why do you? So what did he say?
Hard on him yesterday.
What did he say essentially? Like, give us.
He called them low IQ.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Why?
Fabian, you killed me with your comments at the back.
What did he say?
You don't want. Anyway, yeah, that was.
Why did he? Like, why did he? What made him lead to this?
Well, because they're anti the war. So they're coming at him, and so he's coming at them.
I think the majority, it doesn't matter which, if you're right or left wing, I think the majority of people aren't, like, when things get real and lead starts flying around, you don't really want that.
Obviously, yeah. Well, he doesn't like anybody disagreeing with him.
Yeah, well, I think that's what it really is.
Rule,
you're going against him.
Yeah, he's not about that life.
Listening to Hegseth talk to him, like Pete, it's just like, dude, chill out a little bit.
Like he kisses.
Oh my
brown noser
God,
a little bit?
Yeah, him
brown
and
nosing?
JE is just like, oh, stop, please. It like hurts.
All right. Now that tweet took me up. What the hell is SKYQ doing, guys? There goes 11. Here comes 11:20. There's 11:25. Oh, you suck, SKYQ. You're killing me, man. Come on. This is a really good one. This is just ripping, Joey. All right, limit up is 1174, guys. We're getting close. 1126, 1174, limit up. There's 1130. So the breakout is on. There's 1135. Oh, my days. SKYQ, 55%. But the small caps are looking good today, man. They really are. Q and SKYQ are doing their thing. 25 over here. I've got some others, but we're going to focus on these ones for now, man, because these are fantastic. Guys, the 10 EMA on the 5 is at $10 on SKYQ. High days 1135. And it's about to take it out again. It just made another attempt at 1135. So now we know there's an aggressive seller at the 35 penny area. I don't know what to make of this, but maybe we get a little beak wetter at 11. There's 1140. Now limit up is adjusted from 1174 to 1203. It was at 1191. It just moved up to 1203. So limit up is distancing itself away from the price action at the moment. Uh-oh. I can't say uh-oh for Adam James. My bad. I got a different one for Adam. I love Adam, though. When did Zion Donnie say that? That's crazy. Let's go Bournemouth, bro. He just wants everything anti what I support. If I say right, he's going left.
Of course.
If I say Arsenal, he says City. Or anybody else. Or Chelsea. Yeah, in his case, it's City, though. But shout out to my man, Adam James. Nah, man, Bournemouth is catching hands. We're playing at home this week. Guys, SKYQ, 1184 high, 1216 limit up. SKYQ is going here. Donnarumma sucks, by the way, Frico. I'm not a big fan of Donnarumma. Good shot stopper, but I don't think he's a good ball handler, and we know where the Prem is going now, right? Goalie's got to be able to handle the ball, you know. What do we got there, Neil?
Neil's dancing. My guy is dancing. He's got the fried chicken. Let's go, man. That's crazy. Man.
Oh,
dancing.
It's fried chicken?
Pull it up there, man.
Fried chicken?
This is the best sauce that they have right there with the mashed tots and the mac and cheese.
How's the oil situation?
Dude, that is like, man, that is opposite of healthy for you. You have the macaroni cheese, the fried chicken, and the mashed tots.
Oh, need advice. And SKYQ.
That's crazy.
Or buy more. Taylor Robbie, Taylor Batty, I think. Sharif, bro, need advice in SKYQ under 8, hold or buy more. We're in no man's land, 1184 high, right? Do we reject at 12 or do we make it to 15? I'd be taking some profits here. You're in under 8, you're up big. Look, keep an eye on how 11 treats you. Assassino, can we come to the chart, bro? Thank you. If it loses 11, takes them off the table. And I say if it loses 10, you should be getting out because 10 is a 10 EMA. $10 is the 10 exponential moving average. But I think that, you know, when these ones have a way of breaking out above 10 and they're showing that kind of strength, it's almost, it's never always, but there's a good chance, you know, you work into that 15 just in the same way that I said if we cleared 15 and we were at 17, there was a good chance we would be going to 20. Right, SKYQ, it's not even up triple digits on the day. Keep that in mind. And here comes $12, 1184 high. Fantastic look right now on SKYQ, guys. We're gonna keep an eye out on this one. But shout out to my man Taylor there. Hope you are printing up multiple storms. There's no question about that because that's a great entry by you at $8. You have a fantastic entry. There's another high day, Joey, 1190. So we're like just a throw stone away from 12. I'm still holding Q, and this is showing me a doji candle followed by a green candle with a higher low. Still has a lower high on Q. I could add into this position here because we could be making a move into the 60s. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm looking to add on CUE. Let's see if this one's got the juice to kind of continue up. It just breached prior bar high. I can give it to current bar low, right? Which is 52.64. That's what I'm gonna do. We're gonna go to Adara. We'll report to you guys when we get back.
Roblox on watch here, bouncing a little bit. And as you can see, a bit of a spike in that last 3-minute candle after the company announces they're gonna be launching Roblox Plus on April 30th. It'll be $5 a month or $4.99 a month across the globe. It'll include a 10% discount on in-game and avatar purchases. And then after about 3 months, you're gonna actually see the discount increase to 20%. So new Roblox subscription here, RBLX, seeming to like that at least for now.
In Roblox?
No, sir. Have you? No, I don't, I mean.
I hear there's a game on it called Brain Rot that the kids just are. You're laughing. Oh, does she? Oh, yeah? Okay. Yeah, so Neil's nodded, knows all about that. And by extension, of course, Neil knows about it.
Yeah.
And then there's like these different, like, I don't know what they are, Joey, but you collect them. And there's like these very, very limited ones. And there's pranks of people like telling their like little daughters or little sisters, oh, I caught this, I don't know, watermelon brain rot. That's supposed to be like the most rare. And then like they can't believe that they actually got it, but they're just lying, obviously.
I don't, the only game I really play is chess, Sharif. And I mean this.
You'll be doing your Spanish lesson, my boy.
I haven't hopped on Duo in a hot minute, man.
but you on Duo for chess though, no?
No, I use chess.com.
Oh, you're actually playing.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I mean, I'm not, by any means, I'm not saying I'm very good compared to some of the other. I gotta watch some more Magnus Carlsen, to be honest with you.
Yo, why is he so bizarre?
I mean, when you're the best at something like that, man, are you typically
Didn't he just
normal?
lose? Okay. So there's this video.
I don't know if he's on the spectrum either, though. You know,
yeah, that's probably Because there was this girl that he was playing against, right?
Yeah.
And so she's obviously excited. He's this like kind of a celebrity. So she just takes a selfie with him, which he poses for. And he leaned in, he did the thing, and then literally got up, walked to the judge, was like, she took a picture with me. Can you confiscate her phone? The judge walks up, takes her phone.
Really, eh?
Yeah.
Remember that one time he wore jeans? He got kicked out of a competition because he wore jeans. Yeah, not allowed to wear jeans in the competition. And he lost to like this Indian protege, this little kid.
That's what I saw.
Yeah.
That's the video that I saw where he like slammed the table.
He slams everything, but then he tells him good luck, fixes all the pieces and everything. Yeah, I mean, dude, man, when you're like, the kid was essentially a prodigy from a young age, and that typically happens. It's tough, man. Like people tend to become odd. They don't live the everyday life like you and I. There's so much publicity and stuff around them. There goes the market. Nice little short to the downside on that break here in the NASDAQ. We'll take that one. Palantir still holding up around those highs, but the market really starting to slide here, guys, and we wanted to try and take advantage of that. So let's take a little bit out right there as we get that move that we were looking for. Because, okay, it's starting to rebound here now. We'll be patient. The volatility is most definitely in, and you have to be prepared for these deeper breaths. But we'll wait for 49.15 before we piece anything out, unless there's some form of volume stepping in. I wouldn't be surprised. News headline We got that breakdown. I'm not holding it for too much. We're going to see if it can continue. But if the volume really starts to uptick, then maybe there's a headline that we need to pay attention to and maybe causing a little bit of this volatility spike. But nonetheless, you have to go short considering you come off of this high and you break through the volume weighted average price. You have this breath here, and then sure enough, you continue to slide a little bit more. So let's piece them out exactly where we want to here on the TQQQs. We take 20% just like that, Sharif, on this little scalp trade for the NASDAQ. Still holding on to positivity, but what we're seeing on the time of sales is not looking good right now for the overall market. Robinhood sliding. What are the big boys up to? NVDA starting to slide a little bit more. Apple moving lower. Everybody and their mother's brothers moving. Not their uncles. Not the uncles as we take a little bit more to the downside, man. Shout out to my uncles. I used to catch beatings when I was younger.
We all did.
From my uncle, man. Charlie horses. That was the thing in our family, is just who could give the worst Charlie horse. And then I'll tell you one thing, if you know what that is, it's not a good time. To be honest with you, Sharif, I had a pretty healthy hockey career until when I was playing football in high school, I thought I was too cool for pads and like the thigh pads. Right, and I never wore them. So, anyways, my middle linebacker partner, Nicholas, I'm not going to probably say his name. I don't even know.
Because you're doing the tackling. That's why. All right. Yeah. I was getting tackled all the time.
You were playing running back, right? Yeah. I was doing the tackling. Anyways, so I go high and he goes low. His helmet hit my thigh, and that was the worst Charlie horse that I ever. Yeah, and I missed actual my rep hockey because of it. Just only a week, but the bruise was absolutely horrible, and I decided not to do that.
Yeah, man. Hockey. It's the same kind of. You got a lot more upper body injuries though, in hockey, right?
I never had an upper. Dude, I had a really healthy career.
About cross checks and stuff like that.
Dude, that is that's like bruising and stuff like that. Like people.
Football, it's mostly lower body.
So you have the shoulder pad and your elbow pad, but there's a little crease right there that people use the composite sticks to just cross check you, and right in the hip as well too. That's where you get somebody to move. Lacrosse is an absolute brutal sport.
Because you can cross check in lacrosse legally, right?
Legally, and you can just whack their hands and stuff, which is crazy.
But you could do that before in hockey because you could poke check. You can't do that anymore. You could poke check people back in the day. So if you beat me, I could just try to grab you by the arm a little bit.
I don't know about that. I can only. I mean, in my day when I played, you could never really be hooking and stuff like that.
Well, there's a difference between a poke check and a hook, though. No.
Yeah, absolutely. You can poke check the stick, but you can't get in their hands. As soon as you get in somebody's hands, it's a penalty. Here goes the NASDAQ to the downside, guys. This one's really working for us. A nice little move there, but I'd like to hold a little bit more. Sitting on approximately, let's call it 35% remaining of this position. We're going off to Adara.
Yeah, quick oil news here. I know a lot of people are wondering why the market's selling. I don't have a clear headline here. One thing that could be related is CNN reporting here, citing shipping data that looks like only one oil tanker has passed through the Strait of Hormuz today. So we're still concerned about passage or lack thereof through the Strait of Hormuz. If I do get any other headlines, I'll keep you posted, but I did want to provide you guys with an update. Again, here is USO not moving too much on this, though it is notably at or near intraday highs, which the market is not.
Thank you very much for that. All right, keeping an eye here on UCAR, Bovin. It's at the 10 EMA on the 5, and this is starting to interest me a lot. The range, though, I'm going to have to give it to about 230 or so. So let's go ahead, adjust my risk on UCAR so that I give it to 230. So let's see what we can get on this bad boy here. I don't mind trying to pick it up here, Bovin. 267 hold, but it's coming down. No, it's coming. It's losing the 10 EMA, so it might be headed to VWAP. If it holds up at 230, then I'll get in. But I'm going to have to see it hold up over here because UCAR tanking off 267. I was looking for a 240 bounce because that's where the 10 EMA was. There's buying at 230. Okay, here it is. Let's see now if I can just adjust my stop on this where I can give it to below the volume weighted average price, which takes me down to 224. Okay, that's good. And no, I don't want to take that much risk, so I have to adjust that. All right, good. So what does that give me there? Okay, good. Let's see if we can get in there. I will give it to 224. Let's give this one a try, Bovin. We're going to give it the old college try, so to speak. Let's see if this one bounces back up and holds 230. If it loses 230, I'm out. Okay, if it finds a bid here, then we'll have a good look at this. What do we have? At 37, so my 1R will be around 250. Let's go ahead and post something up at 248, see if we can kind of maneuver, finagle, and move back up there, and we'll see what that does. there's definitely a 37 sell. Okay, well, he just got taken out. 38s here. Let's see if we can bounce back up, turn this into a hammer candle, albeit red probably. So UCAR in focus for me. Q as well, continuing to be in focus. I got pushed out because this one lost 50 pennies. I had to draw my line somewhere, but I'm seeing that it's catching a bit of a bid now, which is not a bad look. It does have lower highs, though, on the 5. However you want to square this circle off that 58 penny high, Q has been putting in sequentially lower highs, lower highs, lower highs. So I'm not exactly, you know, running in to get into this one. Let's see what UCAR here has to offer us. We're going to put a profit taker here at 240 just as a liquidity tester to see if we can kind of maneuver above there. It's showing 240. There it is. Good into 241. Bovin, how are you looking at this right now, brother? Are you looking for a move back above 250? That's a good sign there that we got right back into that 230 and we manifested bottoming tail candles in the same way we had before. Let me show you guys what I mean by that. So this is my 5-minute look here on UCAR. You can see all the bottoming tail candles at that 230 level. We get another one, albeit with an aggressive down move. We're not out of the woods yet because this candle's still red and it's south of 240. And I'm in 237, so I'm break even at the moment. I'm looking for another move back into 250. That's going to be my 1R, and that's where I'm going to try to take the majority of the profits, always holding a piece for the dream. Let's not forget, though, about SKYQ, because SKYQ is still setting up again. So SKYQ 1190 high. Be on the lookout here. It's slowed down in terms of volume, but it might be ready to go, especially if it can break and hold above 1150. Prior bar high, which is a doji candle, 1145. Current bar high, 1142. So we have a lower high on SKYQ. Something to be aware of there. So ZNTL, I don't have anything good to say about that. I'm negative on that on the day. And Q has been my best. No question about that. We'll see how UCAR does. Taking half the risk on UCAR that I'm taking on the other ones because this one dropped off a cliff from 267. So the better part of the trade could be over here. I'll find out shortly.
Good stuff, good stuff. Yeah, I mean, there it is, guys. We got the break of this structure right here. So we're giving back the majority of the gains. So once that snapped, I'm like, this is our green light to go. There was a couple of signals that said, hey, we're not going to climb higher and have any form of a breath or establish a lower high. I was just straight off to the races, and then sure enough, we're still holding on to a little bit of this position. We did take off, I think it was like 10% or something along those lines here, and then we pieced it out on the way down, and we're gonna hold it for a little bit longer. We'll take some more out at 48.90s. We'll cut our position in half, and then we'll leave the rest for a runner for the rest of the session, or for however long we possibly can. All right, guys, it's time for Happening Now, and then Neil with his lesson of the day.
What's happening now? Well, the market is pushing lower. Everyone's asking me for news. I don't have any news. Sometimes the market is just pulling back. And in this case, too, looks like a bit of a triple top here, that 682 level on the SPY on the 15-minute chart. NASDAQ making an even more distinct high here. This was this spike at 11:15 candle. Since then, mostly been trading lower. Of course, as you can see here on the left of the screen, we still have headlines coming in the Middle East regarding these negotiations tomorrow in Pakistan. Will they take place? Will there be some kind of, reckoning if things don't go well? President Trump said he's already trying to send the military out there. That was just a report, though. So lots of back and forth. That continues. The market digests it and is moving around. I have to talk about CoreWeave because as much as we've talked about the back and forth, CoreWeave seems to have one direction. It is to the upside. CRWV with that second big deal of the week yesterday morning, $21 billion expansion deal with Meta. Today, a multi-year agreement with Anthropic. I have not seen any financial terms for the deal, but nice look for CoreWeave. They also upsized their now $3.5 billion convertible note offering that was first announced yesterday morning, roughly 30 minutes or so after the Meta deal. And I had to talk about the Truth Social post heard around the world, not about China, about Palantir. The first time I've ever seen President Trump mention a stock ticker in his post, but he praised Palantir while putting their ticker in brackets, saying that the company has, quote, proven to have great warfighting capabilities and equipment.
Don't be rude.
So I'm not trying to be rude here, President Trump, just repeating the post. PLTR, as you can see, at a nice pop to the upside. As he's laughing at these sounds here. But you know what we might be laughing and certainly learning from? Neil and his lesson of the day. Don't laugh at the lesson, just, I'm ending this tangent. Neil, what's the lesson? How was the chicken?
I did everything.
Delicious, first of all. So I'm just gonna start with it because you probably saw me dancing in with the chicken. I've already finished. I finished the chicken. There's still some. I still have some of the mashed potatoes left, but that was done in about 3.5 to 4 minutes, both the leg and the thigh, because that's how I roll, and it was delicious. But the lesson of the day here, and this is not to call anybody out, but there was a question in the morning that I thought was a good one, and I answered it. And then there was a second person, who had commented about it. I'm going to make the lesson sort of about that. And the question was just simply about yesterday. Intel's a rocket ship. These are the last couple of days. It's not today. It's a rocket ship, and it had this bounce off VWAP that I participated in, and I trailed out a bit early. And if you look at the move, and the question was, hey, well, I saw you got trailed out on the 1 minute on the trend line, but it didn't really break. What happened there? That was the question. And I answered the question. I said, look, the stop was misplaced. If you look at the trend line, it didn't actually break. And it was this. There's a lower high. There's a hold of VWAP. So, pretty simple. It'll be relatively steep because it was a steep move, but I started getting involved when it held the third time. And so this scalp is about 59.75, and then the local high was about 60.30. So it's a good, almost full percentage point, about 40, 50 cents, which is generally pretty good for Intel. But I did trail out without it breaking the trend, and then it doubled the move. And I simply answered, well, I had my stop at not the current bar, not the prior bar. So it didn't really break the trend line. I just got out when it tapped it. So someone's response in the chat was, yeah, I misplaced my stop, blah, blah, blah. And which is fine. You can do your own. And my response to that was simply as this. If you're not into honesty, then you're basically watching the wrong channel. And if you're not into being honest with yourself as a trader and being critical and just telling the truth about what happened and what you can do better, then you're just not going to get better. And I've never really, I can't say I've never really. That's not the right way to put this. I have never in over 20 years, not I've never really, I have never in over 20 years seen a consistently profitable trader who had anything resembling a career in trading for a long period of time that wasn't incredibly honest about with themselves, about why a trade lost. I lost because I revenge traded. I lost because I'm an idiot, I misplaced my stop. I was reading the wrong indicator, or I made a fat finger. I overreacted to a piece of news and I chased it because I got FOMO. It's not just about, I got in here, I got out there. If you don't actually take the time to consider what happened in your postmortem, then you're not going to be able to hopefully rectify the mistake. Now, what was the difference today? Yeah, okay, fine. Intel should have been a short. The funny thing is now I can't look at this without seeing that short. Anyways, it doesn't really matter. What I was really wanted to getting at is if you don't want to have the same thing happen to you, then you're really particular about it. Today, in this particular case, there is the trend break. If I had made the same mistake that I did the day before, then I would have been trailed out on this wick right here. I would have taken a little bit out, and I would have been trailed out right there if I make the same mistake. Instead, I get all the lower highs into this top, and then the pop into the high of the day, which is my style. Anyone that's ever like, okay, fine, you got top tick here, whatever. The way that I trade, this is a reversion. I get out and get the top tick. And I never sit there and be like, look at me, I got top tick, because for every time that happens, this does too. Like I get out at VWAP and then it continues lower. That's gonna be par for the course. On Nike, and I'm only showing this to show you, like it's not, like this is not, I picked the top. No, it's just the way that I'll trade. Nike, the VWAP short, I have a support level that I'm intending to get into. It's gonna eventually get to the bottom because I reshorted on the lower high, and it looks like I got a trail in right now to 43, so we're looking for that last push down. But it's just keeping to your style. If I had made a mistake on this trade, I would reevaluate it. But the most important thing is, just going back to the Intel example, is you should be willing to say something as simple as, I misplaced my stop if that's what happened. If you can't do that, then what if you make like a much bigger error? Again, like a revenge trade. I refused to admit that I was wrong, and I kept just buying the dip until it eventually worked. Like if you're not willing to be critical, and sometimes you have to be critical of yourself when it wins. Like if you just sit there, like imagine your strategy was shorting Intel, Oh, it's like, oh, boom, break of the low of the day, I'm short. Uh-oh, bottoming tail candle, short more, short more, short more, short more. And then you load into this thing, gets to view up, you're like, okay, pressure relief. You load into it on the way up, and now it's breaking down. If it gets to the bottom, did you make a winning trade? Yeah, you probably did. But did you make a good trade? Could you be critical of yourself saying, well, that was not a good decision. I broke some rules here. Here's what I should have done. Well, if you're trying to get better and getting better in trading is eventually just making more money or at least making consistent money if that's your first goal, because that's what the first goal of a trader should be, then you have to be willing to be critical, even if it seems like it's a boring observation or something that's not important. And the reason we all talk about that kind of stuff is because that's what matters. And we're going to be honest about it. Like, I'm not going to sit there and tell you some bogus reason as to why I did the trade or didn't do the trade. Like, I'm not gonna, like, I could tell you, yeah, you know, I saw this in the tape, so I picked the top and I got the top wick because I was reading the level 2. No, I was sitting right here at that high because the reversion was to that high. And if it was the top wick, great. And if it wasn't the top wick, I'd look like a fool. And maybe it continues, but that's the trading strategy. So I'll just be honest about it. I could spin that to make me sound like a genius, but I'm not. It was just a reversion, sometimes a reversion to VWAP, sometimes a reversion to the high. And that's all it ends up being. So you have to be honest with yourself as a trader. It's really important. It's incredibly important, especially when you're evaluating your trades and trying to get better off of mistakes. I already gave you guys how good the lunch is. I will say this, though. If I have to downgrade the lunch a little bit, there's only 3 vegetables I'm not a fan of. Broccoli, Brussels sprouts, and cauliflower. And all the vegetables are cauliflower. There's like a couple of red peppers in there, slices of red pepper, and then the rest of it's cauliflower. So with that nitpick, I'll probably only be able to give this like an 8.6. If it was, I don't know, like any other vegetables, it'd probably be over a 9. I love the fried chicken. Back to the midday boys. Joey Options putting in all day work. Sharif getting them small cappers. Enjoy.
Sorry, guys, we have to talk about hims and hers first. HIMS on watch. We got a post from this individual. This is Dr. Marty McCary, Commissioner of the FDA, Food and Drug Administration. He just shared a post, quote, FDA continues to see unapproved GLP-1s being mass marketed. These drugs can be risky and ineffective. We'll continue to go after companies that are violating our regulations. We work for the American people. In the post, he shared a photo of a compounded oral semaglutide pill being sold. So again, HIMS, known for these compounded pills, did drop, as you can see, on that announcement. Again, keep an eye on HIMS. Looks like it's getting targeted by the FDA. Once again, like, subscribe. Going back to the midday.
Yeah, one of my old man's friends at church just got dinged.
For what?
By the Ontario College of Pharmacists.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because he was compounding the GLP-1s at his pharmacy. That's his second time he got dinged. He was compounding Propecia and finasteride for hair loss. And he was making like stronger versions.
Oh, really?
So it's like 5%. But you can compound, I think, up to 10. This dude was smashing 20s.
Oh, yeah?
20% minoxidil.
You have his number?
0.1% finasteride. And they suspended him for a little bit.
Oh, yeah?
And now he's back at it, and he got dinged again. My old man's like,
you said pink chicken, Neil. I heard the chicken's medium rare over there.
The chicken's medium rare, he says. Thigh is a little bit there.
All right, man. We got to put that request in. There goes the market. We take some out. We get stopped out a little bit as it's starting to rebound. Volatility is in. Who guessed it, guys? It's up and it's down and it's around in the NASDAQ and in the SPY. We're starting to find a rebound in a couple of the other names as well. Bitcoin climbing back up to VWAP. Palantir still holding steady. We got all out of that one. So this was our better trader here today, guys. That's going to be on the TQQs. Short rate out of the gate, a failed high. And a nice little move, climbs, rebounds, and then establishes a new high of the day, right? Then we're patient, we wait, and then we get another opportunity to go short, and then it comes back to our break-even. Palantir up there in one of the better traders for us here, and then we take some losses. We can't always just talk about what we got from the winning standpoint. We get all out, now climbing. This is probably an all-day buy, to be honest with you. Obviously, hindsight being 2020. No reason to get out here, essentially, at 127.50. Zero reason. We could have just held it. But anyways, aside from that, we made the decisions that we made. And then our bad traders here today are these names, IBIT and Tesla. Tesla's been removed off the side chart. I don't even really know what it's up to, nor do I really care at this point. Yeah, I mean, if it's not working and you're not in sync with the stock, why am I going to hold on to it? There's no reason. You could just throw it away and look at some other baskets or look at some other vehicles that you've been trading better. That's been Palantir, and then that's been the teachable cues for us. You hone in on those couple, you get a feel for how the price action's moving, you get a feel for the heartbeat, and then you have the ability to base trades off of that, and that's essentially what was done. But there goes Bitcoin, squeezed out of there, and then sure enough, we try one more time. Same size, but we're just like, yeah, we're not giving it that much room. AC Slater to that one, off to the races it goes, and then it comes in aggressively, and then TSLA is the one that really didn't work for us either. So, I mean, we go, so what was it? We go, so we took 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that's not bad, right? So we go literally 4 for 8, 50% clip rate here on the day. That's not bad whatsoever.
Good job, Joey. All right, man, let's talk a little SKYQ because we took this trade during happening now, and Neil's lesson of the day, and we did this over here, so that was okay.
On SKYQ?
Mm-hmm. Here we go. So we took South actually. Why are you
bro,
laughing,
because
bro?
The way you did it, I understand. You do this every
dollars
day.
at a time. Like if I took $1 on Q, CUE, you'd
that's a
see a
story.
bit of a different story.
It was the way I'm like, yeah, you got $1 on that? You're like, all right, boom, back to business.
See us in the house.
Like, all right, man, my bad.
All right, Joey. I like this 1150 though area, guys. Even though that 1285 kind of candle high doesn't look that great. We got in initially at 1182. I added into the position at 12, and then we took it basically all the way up into 13, a little bit shy at 13. It can't be 13 because the high of the day is 1285. So it's a good look right now on SKYQ. I submit to you guys that it's still very much holding trend, holding structure. It's well above the 10 EMA on the 5. This is a decent, healthy pullback. I'd like to see what we do right at this level here, 11 3/4. At the worst, I want to see 11 1/2. Between 11 1/4 to 11 1/2. Reason is we have initial resistance at 11 3/4. We have another previous area of resistance at 11 1/2, and then ultimately that 10 EMA on the 5 is sitting at 11 1/4. So those are the 3 levels I'll be keeping an eye on. Now, if it defends 11 3/4, moves up back above 12, we can have a different discussion at that time. We'll see what eventuality this one leads to, but fantastic look on SKYQ. Now, let's not to be outdone by CUE. Another intraday high into 67 pennies, so now we've touched 2/3. I have a bit of a bias. We might get into 3/4. So how you set up here is awfully important. I think that between 57.5 to 60 pennies is a good buy zone. And the reason I say that is look at the resistance initially at about 57, 56 to 57. Then prior bar low takes us down to 58 and change. So I'm going to go ahead and say 60. But we shall see. We shall see what this one has to offer. That's CUE. Now, square foot, the one that I had an initial move on, is losing trend. And now, this is a glowing short, especially if it works its way back into the volume weighted average price. Neil, how much would square foot shorts cost me, brother? Neil? Oh, he's
tapped in, bro.
I'll get him in a second when you're done. But square foot, because it lost the volume weighted average price and the trend so aggressively, that if this one moves back, I want to say around 380 to 385, this is a good short if you can locate shorts on square foot. I'm just having a look here on my scanner. Square foot is not easy to borrow on my platform anyway, which is not, doesn't always have the most amount of shares available for short. So that's what I'm thinking here on square foot. We can take these both long and short, baby. So that's what I'm going to be looking at there, Joey. Also, ZNTL. I missed a trade on this one. This was an obvious VWAP hold with a lower high, but we could have scalped something. We could have taken almost 40 pennies and change. But ZNTL is a range until it's not. Look at this. This is a kind of a big move up, and then we get a bit of a pullback down. It looks like it's calmed down a little bit here with respect to range, with about 6.5 to the high side, let's say 6 to the downside. We'll see what kind of price action we get here with ZNTL. SKYQ just dropped into 11. It's being bought off that $11 area, but it did wick below at the low. This candle is 1088 on the dot. So SKYQ is losing it and losing it in a hurry here. So keep an eye out on that. I don't think it's shortable yet until below the volume weighted average price, which is showing 10 1/3. But what I want to do is send it to Joey so I can maneuver over to Neil and find out how much shorts are going to cost me on square foot.
All right, man. Yeah, we'll take a look at some of these names. We got all out of the NASDAQ, essentially. We're looking at for a re-engagement, which way this market's going to potentially going. IBIT has been strong, guys. It's starting to find somewhat of a bounce. It sold aggressively for about 30 minutes or so, and then now it's heading right back in towards a key neckline level. And what am I referring to? Look at where we bounced off before. Let's see how we react. Inverted hammer. Maybe we can get a continuation in the short. Starting to get the curl over here in the TQQQ. It's failing to break through a pivot high of around 611. That's going to put us right around that 49.33 mark on the TQQQs. So we'll keep an eye out on that. The rebound is in full effect, but maybe things will start to turn around once again and we can look for the short continuation. There was the opportunity. I was just looking at this TSLL trade to see how we can do a little bit better. Like, I mean, at the end of the day, you know what? Let me know how you guys feel about this. So for quite some time, like someone in the chat mentioned like, hey, I go over my losses, so and such. But I've talked to a couple individuals who like, I don't even look at my losses, even though you document them. I only focus on my winners so that you literally embed in your head what you're doing right every single time and continuously try to go off of that. I'm curious to know what you guys think, essentially. And there goes the NASDAQ heading right lower. So the re-engagement level came into play. We didn't pull the trigger as it ran into 49.30. That was the optimum risk to reward. You play the VWAP break, then you just get out of dodge. But at this pace, I think we are going to establish a new low of the day. There might be a short in Bitcoin to be had here because we have an inverted hammer right at the volume weighted average price. With that being said, we got to start small size, 10 cents worth of risk for a low of the day for potential 20. The low of the day would give us that 2-to-1 risk to reward ratio that we're looking for. Palantir is starting to come in a little bit too. But I think patience is extremely key. We don't want to rush anything. We want to let bases start to form, and that'll allow us to put on some trades like this and what we had in Palantir. We were fortunate enough to get the volatility spike in that name, and we took advantage of it. But other than that, we want to take advantage of a couple more. All
right, I got the shorts on square foot. This entry here is baby, okay? Because I'm trying to target the volume weighted average price, and that to me is in the low to mid 80s. All right, so we're getting in here, small size. What I get? I got 68s. Okay, great. I'm going to defend that general VWAP area. Now, I really hope it doesn't go down from here. Well, I can add into the position. It is losing. It is losing trend here, back down. So square foot drops all the way down to 338, makes an intraday low. Let me just make sure that that's the intraday low. 339. No, it was 1 penny. 1 penny above the intraday low. So I'd made a previous area low before that. Pops up on this current 5-minute candle into 372. That's the high of this current 5-minute candle. Now it's back down to 363, 364. So again, I'm looking to defend. Let me bring in my black charts so I can show this a bit more clearly. Bovin, SKYQ might be a short here, especially if it loses 10, Bovin. It's barely holding on to VWAP because Bovin was just telling me that SKYQ could be a short. So I'm looking to defend this area here. This has been my observation. When these things are trending and then they lose the trend and lose VWAP and then come back in to test VWAP from the south side as a resistance level, they're good setups. I don't know if Luis is still in the chat because it's probably a little bit late. It's a Friday. My man probably wants to start enjoying his weekend, but that's what I'm kind of looking at there. I see it, Cool Brioche. UCAR is back. I hate this stock because I traded it wrong. I had like this super tight stop below 230. I don't know why. I should have given it a bit more room. And there it is rocketing up back to 255. So that is quite frustrating for me. But in any event, Zion, just because you've been wearing shorts on your vacation, you can't be shorting here now. Brother, of course I'm going to wear shorts at the beach. What's going on? I'm not one of those guys that posts up to the beach in jeans and like Jordans. And I've seen a lot of you guys do that.
Selena asked why you're so dark.
Oh, what? I don't know. About vacation.
Well, obviously I told her, man. And she's like laughing. She's like, why is Sharif so? She's like, was he?
I never even got to meet her, bro. I want to meet her.
She was sleeping, man. Yeah. She's like, why is Sharif come so late? Bro shows up at my house at like 10:30.
Did I actually?
Yeah.
Did I actually?
Yeah, I was like,
I don't know. That's when the fight started.
Yeah, it was late, man. We had to catch the fight.
I appreciate it, man. Shout out to Selena. All right, so that's what we're looking at. We're looking still at square foot. I'm gonna look to get a lot more in, as I've mentioned, at this 380 area. So what's my move here on square foot? What if it retraces above VWAP and goes on its merry way back to the high side? Well, I personally have a bias that doesn't happen. But if it does, I stop up above prior bar high, the 1205 bar high, which is 396. So if it moves back above that, I'm gonzino. That's all I'm looking at there. So looking at building a position into square foot, hopefully gives me another couple of opportunities. But that is all I'm looking at. OGN at VWAP. I took that off my side chart, actually. Cool brioche. But let's bring in this one. OGN. Outside in a AMG. I don't know. Beep, beep. Dude, there's so many songs that were the anthem of this trip, and I have like a special playlist called Punta Cana 26, and that's just the playlist.
I mean, it would just help you kind of run back the memory when you hear the song. It just makes you think about it.
And like, you genuinely like them a bit more.
Did you check out Coco Bongo? Did you go Coco Bongo or
no?
No?
Bro, like there was no.
There's nothing. Yeah, I know.
There was an event every day at the hotel, and there was a club at the hotel, as you know, Sasha or whatever it was called.
I spent pure time at the volleyball pool.
So did I.
Yeah.
So did I. Well, no, not the volleyball pool. The volleyball, sand volleyball.
Okay, you're playing. Yeah, but you know the volleyball pool,
exactly,
right?
We're
playing there.
Yeah, that's near the water slides. But yeah, OGN, not bad. Not too bad. Where's VWAP on this chart? Where did VWAP go on this chart? It disappeared. Studies, volume weighted average price, apply. Intraday VWAP, RSI, apply. Okay. Doesn't want to show up. That's okay. Maybe it's in a bad mood or whatever. We don't want to upset it. JC Money. When you gym 4 times a day a week, you better not have to hide chicken legs in G's at the beach. No, brother. Ain't no chicken legs here, but,
chicken legs.
you know, try to keep it a little classy. Keep it a little bit classy, right? Can't be stunning.
All class Adam Duluth. Sure. Yeah, Sharif, I'm scanning for something. I know you're in the shorts there. How much did those run you by any chance?
Yeah, okay. So for 100 shares, it's $1.30.
Bang.
Yeah.
All right,
just to give you an idea what kind of advantage you get
throw
from real trading.
Throw them all out. One shot, pang. Just like that. There comes the market a little bit lower.
Comes the boom.
Here comes the boom. Oh, I remember that thing?
Remember that?
Oh, man, that was crazy. Who remembers the video game? Oh, I can't remember it right now. But it was like the XFL video game for PS2. Anyways, aside from that, I'm thinking about maybe a potential move here in Bitcoin. I'm really stuck on which direction to go, and if it's that difficult for me to find something, then maybe we should just avoid it. But I do like this setup. 29s can be you want to give yourself a little bit of room, so 10 cents at that point, we get stopped out, we get out of dodge on that one. So NFL Blitz, yes, that's
that was so good.
NFL
that was so
Blitz.
good. It was always a competitor to Madden. Because it was better, because it was more aggressive and violent.
NFL Blitz, and you see, like, it would show like the bones breaking and everything.
That's what I mean. It was so much more violent.
Man, it was sick, man. But aside from that, I'm thinking short here in the overall market. You got something moving.
Joey, I need to mention FFAI, guys, is making a big move here. Let me bring in, I don't know which one. I'm going to take off Raya, even though Raya still deserves to be on here. But FFAI is making a big move. Look at this on Faraday Future. Shout out to Randy. He doesn't show up to work on Saturdays, but that's fine. I'm on Fridays. Because he's got a lot of seniority. He's got a lot of days.
I don't show up on Saturdays either.
Yeah, I know. My bad. I slipped with that one. But 35 pennies, area high, Faraday Futures, ticker FFAI, looking real good over here. It is a penny stock now, but to me that's fine. 30 penny support, no question about it. Possibly 33 penny support now that we've kind of cleared that initial area of resistance with a 35 penny high. That's something I'd be looking out for there. A possible long on Faraday. UCAR, cool brioche. Bovin, UCAR is making another move above 60, trying to take out 67. This trade is going to haunt me. I traded it absolutely wrong. I should have had that move into 30, giving it to 25 or 24. I traded that one wrong and traded it too tight. That'll be on me, but I'll learn from that lesson. Good look here. SKYQ held 10 and moving back up, says Bovin. Yeah, here's a look at SKYQ. It is nice of a scalp, but I suspect, Bovin, whether we're gonna get back into 12, 1285, we'll have to wait and see. Let's see what kind of buying we get, at least above 11. Let's wait to see exactly how that one ends up being. But my focus is now gonna be trying to build a position on square foot, SQFT, at VWAP. If it loses, if it doesn't hold this level and continues to drop down below 60, I will add for the loss of that 60 penny level for a possible move back into the area low. So square foot could be an all-day short. We'll see. Kind of hard to know at the moment. But let me see if I can pull up some information here on SQFT. Let's load up Perplexity. And so we're going to find out what is the float and short float on SQFT. Now this data could be a little bit dated, full disclosure, tell you exactly. So the short float is about 5% of the latest data I found, with about 35,122 shares short. I don't believe that. And a reported float of 700,000 shares. Let's find out if that is true. I'm going to compare that with what I have on my platform here. Let's move my risk calculator out of the way. Let's just move this down so we're not key ratios. Company profile, just 1 sec, Assassino. We will go to Adara in 1 second. I see 1.1 million share float. Perplexity is saying 700,000. We'll see which one is more accurate, but to be quite honest with you, I don't think that there is that much of a difference. It's a very small float, so we'll definitely be looking to add into this one. We're going back up to Adara.
President Trump here on Truth Social talking about Iran and the Strait of Hormuz, saying, quote, the Iranians don't seem to realize that they have no cards other than a short-term extortion of the world by using international waterways, of course, referring to the closure of the Strait of Hormuz. He also emphasized their need to negotiate, so keep an eye on oil, keep an eye on the market. President Trump is quite active today on Truth, and again, this post is about pretty directly the Strait of Hormuz. Back to you.
League. It was Blitz the League, the game where it would just... Did you ever play that game?
No.
Oh, it was sick. Like, this is the gameplay and stuff for 360.
Never played
Crazy
that.
stuff.
Crazy.
All right, guys, we're going to go Palantir starting to sell off a little bit. We have the NASDAQ moving a little bit lower. We're starting to see a base B form that we want here in the IBIT, potential short for a move back lower. So there's a lot lining up. Failed high right here, so I think there's going to be a good opportunity. What's your not very good, man. I'm not good at all, to be honest with you. Like, I'm not horrible, but like Jose in the back, he rinses me. It's not even close.
Programming?
No, in chess.
Oh.
Yeah, Jose is really good. I mean, I almost beat him one time, but almost in my mind. Other than that, it wasn't like honestly too close at all. All right. We're in. We only have about a 6-cent stop here on IBIT. If it puts in a new high, then we get out of dodge. We want to look for the continuation to the downside in some of these names. I think we can get it momentarily, especially if we get this test. But as soon as it breaks through that level, then we're out, right? Like, I have no issues as the market, it seems relatively weak. I think that we had going for Bitcoin is that Iran is like, hey, man, pay us in Bitcoin.
Yeah, I saw that.
Oh, my God.
It's like not the look we want to go for as, like, Bitcoin supporters.
Yeah,
we're trying to get away from the criminality of it.
Exactly. I mean,
but I get it. I get it.
Yeah, I understand where they're coming from. But I don't know if they would want to do that, because then you just know, like, you send it to the wallet, then you essentially know which wallet it's going to, don't you?
Well, okay, so they were saying that it had to have like a clearing time of a minute. Not that I understand how. Remember that video I sent you? Did you watch that? Where like they solicit Reddit programmers on Reddit to rinse their Bitcoin?
Rinsing it, yeah. So you wash it. You wash it.
Yeah. So there's a whole point. So anyway, so they were saying something about it couldn't be 1 minute between the time of payment and when the payment was sent, because they had to do something with it so that it would skirt sanctions.
Yeah, you scramble
Not that I understand how that works.
I think you scramble. I think they're talking about scrambling it potentially.
Possibly.
So that's what they could do. Like, if they accept a payment, if they receive that payment, then they can scramble it so it just like
that's what I understand.
It essentially like. It costs a lot of gas apparently, but it just makes it come from a whole bunch of different angles.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's what the video I sent you was. It was all about like they are hiring programmers, like people in the cartel will get paid in crypto somehow, in whatever type of crypto. And then they'll hire this programmer to basically rinse the money, send it from here and there. And this. It's called a mixer, says the Juno show. Scramble. I prefer my BTC over easy. I like that. All right, man. All right, we get your point there. No, but that's what it is. And I personally don't really, I mean, that's anytime anybody is a Bitcoin detractor, that's the first thing they point at. They point at criminality, they point at rogue governments utilizing it. So as a person who, wants Bitcoin to flourish in the kind of the mainstream market, it's not something I'm looking for. But
I don't even think they would ever be like, yeah, we'll do that. There's zero chance. I think that the states.
UCAR's taking out highs, man. UCAR is on a rampage to the high side, 276 high, guys. It's going. This is probably going to hit 3. Here we go. A clean hold of VWAP, a clean hold generally of 230. I think it got to 229, whatever. And here's 276 again, trading at the day high. Fantastic look here on UCAR. I'm fixated on my short on square foot, trying to build a position in here. It has neither given me a reason to add or remove from the trade, so we're packing the patience. I'm looking for a loss of 60. If it loses 60, I'll add into the position. If it moves up into VWAP at around 380 or 3 mid-80s, I'll add into that position as well. But UCAR is him at the moment, and I don't even have this on my side chart, so we got to put it in because it's not updating the percentage up. It is up 67% on the day, so that is a fantastic look for those who had the compunction to hold on to this one. I certainly didn't, because this one was playing all sorts of chicanery with me, and it wasn't basically holding the level, and it broke prior bar low, so I didn't want anything to do with it at the time. I'm obviously wrong, and hopefully we'll learn a little bit from that, Joey.
We're going to have a larger structure break here on the NASDAQ, it looks like momentarily, guys. HG, and I think we're going to have to hop out of Bitcoin too. Should have took the reload here. But what I'm referring to, essentially is this level on the TQQQs. If this support system breaks, then you have to get out of it. I mean, if you're going long, that is. I mean, this is a good short. We were short from all the way up here, break of that level, pulls back, and then off to the races it goes to the downside, and it doesn't look very strong whatsoever. Same thing with Robinhood, and if we go through the larger names, I wouldn't be surprised if they're starting to print identical patterns that look slightly bearish. All right, so we'll do that exactly now. If we can break through this, if it breaks either direction, this is my out. This is what we want to break for the continuation to the downside, in which we might get closer to our price target, and that's going to be our objective. But first things first, we don't want to get too ahead of ourselves and celebrate too early. We're still stuck within this congestion zone in the supply area that we may just chop around a little bit, have an additional liquidity grab, but I'm not giving it much room. Once it pops, I'll look for a couple more opportunities, but not in sync with this one for the short side. And this is going to be my at-bats, 3 at-bats, and then that's it. We're out of dodge if it doesn't work. Okay, what I wanted to do is pull up the larger names, and we're going to see how the price action is starting to form on the intraday session. How has NVDA's climb higher been? See, this is still relatively strong to me. I wouldn't be surprised if you get a little bit of a move higher there in NVDA. Apple starting to break through the volume weighted average price, helping drag the overall market down. And the exact same thing going on with Google. This thing was strong out of the gate, but straight downside PA after that first 15 minutes of the session. Now, Microsoft, relatively weak. These softer names remaining in the dumpster right now. And then Amazon hovering south of the volume weighted average price. Tesla, it's like, yeah, whatever. We don't expect too much on this thing. Another 45-minute consolidation, which I think we're going to take an additional leg lower, something that we want to keep an eye out on. Now, as for Meta, same thing. Broadcom, Cisco, Oracle was really strong today. So we're just coming off of those highs, 140.11, now trading at 139.40. That's not too bad of a pullback whatsoever, considering where the market is currently sitting at. Moving forward, what other names can we go through? We could just run through our whole list. Palantir, strong thanks to Donald Trump giving us that specific tweet. essentially saying Palantir has been great. He may as well just said buy it at this point. I don't know why he tried to beat around the bush with that one. Just ask Palantir. I don't know why my VWAP is doing that either. So let's see if we can go back a little bit, further dated, and then that will maybe start to fix things here for us on AMD. Nope, still to the downside here in advanced micro devices. Adobe, I don't know why that's all the way up there. TSM coming off the high of 378, guys, now trading at 372. So that gives you multiple points, roughly 6. Texas Instruments receiving an upgrade on yesterday's session. Strong momentum throughout the whole intraday. And then sure enough, just moving sideways throughout today, which is good as the market continues to move a little bit lower. Now, how has Ethereum been performing? Nice bounce off of the lows. Quite can't test this high, but you get to 1706, you come back in with the rest of the market, and then sure enough, not doing too much right now. Yeah, I mean, this is as for a Friday, it took a while for us to find a direction, which I do believe is going to continue to the downside throughout the day. Just totally fine. You just want to be able to position yourself relatively well and get involved at the right place at the right time. Bitmine immersion now on the NYSE, continuing to move a little bit lower, and then also MSTR moving lower. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. That's a really tough name. I don't really know what to do with Bitmine immersion. Like,
neither do I, brother. I'm substantially out of the money on that, and I'm.
It's like you don't want to DCA to an oblivion.
No, it's not giving me the reason to. It hasn't found a bottom.
No, well, I mean, it looks like this is potentially right.
Well, you could have said that about that level as well. Move up. What's that?
This
here? Flat level. Yeah, right there.
Yeah, right here, right? Yeah. I mean, and then, but eventually.
Yeah, I need to start seeing some higher lows.
Is that what you want? Yeah. You want trendline break.
Exactly.
You want trendline break.
Show me a reason to get in. Well, yeah, I see what you're going with there, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
The crypto space needs to rally. I don't know if the end of the war is going to do that, but I mean, it's not out of Ethereum's nature to do what it's currently doing.
That's fair.
It's weak. And same with Bitcoin, though. Who are we to say, it's like, come on, man. I thought the days of those 50, 60% pullbacks were over when everything kind of went more public and on regular exchanges.
That's fair. And
right?
You and I were talking about that.
Yeah.
And institutional buyers, this, that, and the other, regulatory credibility. Anyway, it turned out to be bupkis. The point is, though, we didn't get that 70-80% move, though.
Yeah, no.
To get that 80%
not yet,
move,
anyways.
no.
Yeah.
I feel like we probably found a bit of a bottom here.
I think so too, for the time being. Anyways, but yeah, that was a rinse job. That was a rinse job for sure.
I think I'm close to being break even. Be honest with you, on my IBIT trade. Yeah, I'm like $2 or $3 out of the money.
But you bought at the lows a little bit lower.
I'm only a couple of bucks out of the money here, so I don't feel that bad. All right, Adira.
Kind of an interesting story here, guys. Not a lot of details, but I think an interesting look and worth mentioning. I'm seeing reports that Blackstone is considering a $2 billion IPO for a data center acquisition company. This company has not been named. Goldman Sachs is going to be leading this deal. Citigroup and Morgan Stanley also involved. So again, showing, I think, the extent of the excitement here for this data center craze with these AI infrastructure build out now apparently being an asset class of its own. If I get more details, I'll let you know.
All right. People are talking about BBGI, but I have to add into this short position now because it just lost 60. I'm talking about square foot. All right, here. So we're adding into this position now. I was waiting, hoping for a VWAP move so that we could add at a higher level for a possible move down into the day's low. It just moved up aggressively. Now it's turning into a topping tail inverse hammer candle. Let's see if it continues to drop below 50. The area low is, I want to say 3 1/3. Technically, it's 338, but there's a lot of buying around 350 area. So we're going to have to be careful with a possible buyer at $3.50. It doesn't change my view on adding to this position at 380 because what I added here is the same thing that I added here, which is a small position. And now, if it continues to drop down, we'll continue to add more aggressively into the position, but don't want to get too aggressive too quickly and then have it move up into VWAP and then be forced to DCA aggressively at VWAP. I'd rather it either show me decisively whether it's going to lose 60 pennies, and if that's the case, we'll trade it below that 60 penny area, or if it wants to work its way right back up into 380, 3 high 70s, whatever it's going to be around the volume weighted average price, we'll look at it in that way. So there it is, right back into 357. So the spread's opening up on this one, by the way. Now it is about 7 pennies. This one was as tight as 1. Now when it lost VWAP, it doesn't look as if too many longs are punching into this position. So square foot in focus for me right now. Also, let's bring in some more names here on the side chart that are setting up, possibly UCAR. We were, I traded UCAR poorly today, but that's okay. It's coming back in at about 255, 250. That could be an interesting level after making a new intraday high at 278. The reason I say 55 to 50, 10 EMA on the 5, of which it's been sort of respectful, showing 55s. And then, of course, you have that $0.50 psychological support at around 50. That is something to look at there. And then you have SKYQ. I don't know how to feel about SKYQ here. You're seeing a consolidation after a big boy drop. My spidey sense tells me that there's a big boy seller at 11 that will need to shake before the longs come in. That's once, twice. he is the one thrice at $11 that did reject, and now we're showing multiple topping tail candles into $11, telling you that the shorts could be possibly setting up at that level. So that is something to concern yourselves with. CUE just lost VWAP, and it's about to lose that 50 penny area. It's at 51.94. It's below the 10. It's below VWAP, and now it's breaking below the 20. Uninterrupted red candles starting, at 12.20. We just opened up a new candle, so we have 5 red candles in a row. We'll see if this one can find some support or what the situation is going to be here for Q. But I'm going to pack the patience and look for a long on UCAR if one is warranted, and then I'll be looking to add Joey on my square foot short.
Good stuff, guys. We just had the NASDAQ put in a new low of the day. We're still chopping around the volume-weighted average price on Bitcoin. It's not looking good because if the market rebounds and it wasn't selling aggressive, then we're going to have to get out of this trade. That's 3 attempts on the short side here on IBIT, and it's just not working. You're not getting the breakdowns that we're looking for. Instead, it's right at the top. It's like, okay, you go against the strength, and then sure enough, that's when it starts to go. Now, maybe we can, if we just hover around here, think of a supply zone around 41.26, and we don't break through that or head into 41.30, then we'll be all right. Other than that, I mean, someone was mentioning, it's like, man, you got to re-engage on this potential, like on this backside of this trade. Absolutely, especially considering that this level held up, and then you get to move, like you get 50 cents just like that. Nonetheless, I still believe that considering we are chopping around and the market is extremely weak with Palantir heading right back towards the volume-weighted average price, NVDA still hovering around VWAP, and Apple is starting to show some signs of weakness, or has been for the past about hour or so, considering since it's topped, then you have this 20 consecutive minutes of flushing and no rebound. So that's going to help drag the market down with it, and that's what we want to rock and roll with. SPY put, says John. All right, nice. What contract are you on the 0 DTE cycle? What do you have going on? Robinhood heading towards the LOD, not looking good whatsoever over there. So the weakness is back in, and the headline sensitivity within the market is once again on full display as Donald Trump decides to talk about Palantir, which I think we can find another opportunity in that one. May as well stick with the guns that have been working. We can remove the ones that haven't been. I mean, we haven't looked at Tesla really since we talked about the loss of it. So aside from that, we just move on and find some other potential opportunities. Now, moving forward, AI, I don't even know why I have that name up there. BBA up to $3.28. Yeah. Okay, that's not horrible. CrowdStrike, some of the software names remaining to get destroyed. And here they are to the downside. You have that breath, but then you start to head a little bit lower, 20 consecutive minutes of buying. But look out of the gate. As soon as that opening auction hits, you're just flush city, and that's some waterfall type price action, if you ask me. So something that is not working here for us in Bitcoin is just look at all the buying pressure right at VWAP. Okay, so this isn't a good sign. Sellers push price down, see you later. And there it goes up to 28. I think at this pace, we might have to just go with the flow. I think that's a good buying opportunity. Am I going to flip that quick? I don't think that's necessarily the smart play for my behalf, but I can get out essentially break even. You can see our 41.25 average price, and we can get out for a couple of pennies, and that's absolutely nothing, as Bitcoin looks like it wants to continue to climb higher. And we'll just find something else. I don't want to put on too many more trades. We had a couple good ones here earlier in the day with the NASDAQ and with Palantir. No need to just kind of take paper cut after paper cut when things have been going pretty steady for us. So we print 30s, we're out of dodge. 5 cent hit, tight stop that we were talking about before. And if that hits, then we just like, okay, see you later. 0 for 3 on IBIT, but then you have some other good ones throughout the day. And it's just like, all right, you're not in sync. It's not doing what you want it to do. You should have more of a breakdown of that 41.20 mark. We didn't get that for the test of the LOD, and that wasn't necessarily the case here. Adara.
Keep an eye on NVIDIA, guys. Looks like we're going to get now, feels like near daily update from Michael Burry. He just posted on Substacks that he's added to a short position. Not too much of a move here, but just be aware. He also said earlier today that even though President Trump, as we mentioned, spoke positively about Palantir, including its stock ticker on Truth Social, Burry said he's still short. So again, Michael Burry update, still short Palantir, still short NVIDIA. Back to you.
Short NVDA. That's interesting. Palantir, I think, is considering, but I don't know. I think that's a little bit more of a tough short, especially you've just seen it bounce off of those previous lows. It was around 168 or something along those lines, and then climbs to a high of 190 in the span of a day. Short, I wonder how he's via short. Is he actually shorting the shares, or is he going through the derivatives market, which I know a lot of those larger individuals do, right? More, you can protect yourself a little bit more. I'm sure he's got a mixture of both. Like he's short the shares, right? Probably buying, he's saying short, but meanwhile he's probably shorting puts, so therefore he's long, protecting his downside on that, and just doing all of that, all of the strategic moves that you can use with options.
Are we able to find out?
Probably, yeah. You can. I mean, if he's talking about shorting the shares, I wouldn't be surprised if you can find out his options activity as well.
Guys, Fuse is moving. I see all of you guys looking at it. Everybody's talking about it. FUSE is rocketing up right now in the world of small cap gappers. This one really did kind of fail VWAP. It put in some higher lows here, which may have been a bit of a hint about what it wanted to do, but there is that 179 high. Great look here for FUSE. It takes out that 1 3/4 area. We'll see if it's decisive in its hold, but great look. For the most part, it was putting in generally higher lows. Let's take a look at this at the 15. Was it as choppy on the 15? No, definitely a lot cleaner on the 15 is FUSE. So if you're charting on the wider time frame, definitely a little bit less chop. On the 5, it was a bit more choppy there. So we're going to keep a close eye out on that one. Still holding here. Shares on, what's it called? Square Foot in the short. We did add to this one. It just came back into the 10 EMA on the 5 and rejected it again. So that is what I'm going to be looking at now. 10 EMA rejections seem to be the entry here on the pop-up. So I think that's how I'm going to set up until and if it gets into that 80 penny area or loses that 50 penny area. But Fuse, man, is rocketing up into another day high. 186, 188 now, 189. FUSE, guys, closing in on 2/3 of or 68 million shares on the day. Trade this one carefully, but it looks like it might be on its way to 2. We're going to pause. We're going to Adair.
GME popped for what feels like, again, it feels like he announced this pretty recently, but looks like Burry adding to GameStop again. So again, GME pushing higher. I'm seeing circulation here. Looks like Michael Burry in his Substack post also announced he's added to his GME position. It is popping higher, so I think it's worth mentioning. Back to you.
Probably going on here in NVDA, guys, a massive volume spike. Volatility started to uptick. You can see that through the tape. And then you can also look at the volume by time profile. Look how large this volume candle is. And then you essentially just engulf this whole range right here. A little bit of volatility stepping in the NASDAQ as well. So maybe a headline coming out in this space. We'll keep an eye on it. The chips have been extremely strong here today. So I'll look on my blotter, Sharif.
I'm looking as well, brother.
Okay.
I looked.
You don't see anything?
I don't see anything on the on Twitter either.
Maybe it's just it's just a volatility spike or something along those lines. Somebody offloading a bunch of shares. But with that outstanding print and what we just experienced from the tape and from a price action standpoint, I wouldn't be surprised if momentarily we have a headline come out that says, "Hey, this is going on here," as the market is starting to slide a little bit more after that rebound.
Absolutely, man. Continuing to watch SQFT basically defending 60 pennies. The issue is you just got a bunch of lower highs. So I like this. I like this trade. I should be trying to pick it up at a little bit of a higher level. Ideally, yeah, we can add it. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. We'll see if we can kind of get 6s there, or if it'll give it to us. We'll throw that out there. For an ad, it's going to be for a small amount. Again, I either want it to fail 60 in a quite decisive way or return back to mid-80s, because that's where VWAP is still hanging out. And so that's going to be my look there. Fuse getting a bit of a sell now, guys, coming back down after that 189 high, coming back down to 170. This could be an important area of support for Fuse because look at these topping tail candles. I'm going to submit to you guys a buy area between 60 to 70. And the reason I give such a wide area is because I always have to account for the 10 EMA on the 5, which is showing $1.60. If I wasn't looking at the 10 EMA, I'd give you a 5-penny buy area between 170 to 165 because the closing prints here on the 5 would reject that 165, but the wicks would work into that 170-ish, low 170-ish area.
Oh, I think I have something on
ahead,
NVDA, Sharif. Jensen
I see that.
moved to California despite the high taxes.
Hold on, but he talked about that before, right?
Yeah, and I was seeing that circulate like minutes before this candle. I don't think it's that. But.
It can't be that. It's because you know what they're doing in California, right? You know what's going on?
No, what's going on?
You got the billionaires tax coming, my boy.
Oh, yeah, I heard about that.
Everybody got the hell out of there.
Didn't Jagmeet want to do that as well, too?
Ah, well, Jagmeet's, you see the new guy?
No. Oh, yeah.
Is that Ari, whatever?
What's up with that guy?
That guy's funny, bro. Anyway, point is, everybody is getting the hell out of California because of that. Well, not everybody. The rich.
The billionaires.
The billionaires.
Yeah. What is it? What kind of taxes? What kind of?
It's going to be. I think they're putting it on the ballot. It's going to be. You know, they do these propositions. So
yeah.
In the midterms, I think they're going to put that as a ballot proposition.
Okay.
Billionaires tax, this and that. So we'll see. It's just like a one-off payment, but that's how it starts,
that's
right?
Crazy.
I think we got to go to Adair.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bob popping as well here. It's funny. There kind of seems to be like kind of a delayed reaction to these Burry announcements, but again, it looks like, and this post would have come out now 10 minutes ago, but again, I think it's like one name at a time popping here. Apparently, Michael Burry announced he's initiating long position in Alibaba. So BABA to the upside. Also, just more here on Jensen's comments here with taxes. Again, I do not think this is why NVIDIA is moving because this happened earlier, but he said that, quote, I say to everybody move to California, don't leave. It's the highest taxes in the world, but it's okay. The weather is great. Just kind of a funny series of comments there from Jensen, but again, very likely not the reason for this move down. Again, Michael Burry did say he added to apparently his put contracts. He's continuing to be short the stock. That news came out a little bit before. Back to you.
Yeah.
Well, I never said it was because of the move down. It was more or less the volatility spike that stepped in.
Well, there's this other thing coming from Financial Juice. Trump's AI chip export push stymied by bureaucratic bottleneck. I don't think that's it, but it's something to do with chips, I guess. But that's interesting. I don't have anything right now, Joey. Everything is kind of either setting up right now, or I'm waiting. I'm not either in the money or out of the money.
Okay.
I'm in square foot. I'm trying to build a position. It's kind of putting in some higher lows. I'm waiting for a bigger move back into 380 to add really the size there. We just got another little move into 370, 360 something there. So now we have a 364 average, but I really do want high 70s, mid 80s. That's what I'm looking for here on SQFT. It failed VWAP. If this becomes a VWAP retest, there's a good chance that, it rejects that area. UCAR is coming down, Bovin, into VWAP. Is this a buy here on UCAR? Let's see. Does UCAR lose or hold VWAP over here? So not 248, so it would have to be, let's just say 229. I'm talking about my risk, pardon me. Let's give this one the old college try. Let's see if it bounces off VWAP, Bovin. I'm gonna go long UCAR here for a move into 229. So if it loses 229, we'll get out. We're going to Adair with breaking news.
CVLT here. This company is called Commvault Systems. This is up. It looks like this is halted actually right now. It's up $8 in one 3-minute candle as we get a report from Reuters suggesting that looks like this company is exploring a sale. They've received takeover interest. They're working with Goldman Sachs, and Thoma Bravo is one of the firms that's interested in buying CVLT. So again, CVLT reportedly working with Goldman Sachs on a sale. Again, this is coming from Reuters. Thoma Bravo might be interested in them. Back to you.
Good stuff.
Oh, here we go. All right, I got to focus now because this is giving me my area.
Focus then,
Go ahead, brother.
Shout out to Bryson Tiller's Focus. All right, guys, we got our eyes on here essentially on PLTR. There's a nice signal off the lows. I seen it a little bit too late, but if 127.20 was going to be our mark, that would have been a nice little trade right there off of the bounce. I mean, we're just going to stick with names that have been continuously working for us. I see a couple people in the chat mentioning Rhea as well. So what we'll do is pull up both of those. Netflix, I seen that being called out on multiple occasions as Netflix climbs up to 102.24, and then there goes Rhea all the way up to $1.06. So an additional breakout, the consolidation. And this is what I'm noticing with these names. They have these strong moves, accumulate, and then they just go on these absolute monster rips. So there it is. I wouldn't be surprised if it hits the volatility band at some point relatively soon, considering that's a pretty big jump. I mean, 20%, a little bit less, but nonetheless. Patience, if we can hold up VWAP here, there's also an indecision print on NVDA right above the volume-weighted average price. If this was a perfect world, shout out to Kevin, I believe it's Kevin Costner in that one, who, if it was right at the volume-weighted average price, then that would be an absolute big-time green light to go, considering we had a nice, strong uptrend here today, and then this pullback was on lower volume. So if we're going to be looking at the volume by time profile, you can see that on the uptrend, nice move. On the downtrend, really starts to cool off. What do you have?
I have nothing. I just got my position finally into square foot. If this breaches above 4, it's over for me. So we're going to have to wait and see whether this one is retracing real above the volume-weighted average price or whether it's got the juice to send right back down. So we're going to pack the patience over here. I got 77s on. It's showing me 88s. I don't want to add into this position yet because I don't think it's warranted. So let's see what we have to offer. 85s now, coming back in a little bit. So SQFT, oh my days. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, Zion. Gonna have to pack the patience over here, but that was a monster candle up. So I don't know if that's luring in longs or this is a genuine breakout. In either event, my line in the sand has already been drawn. We'll see if we can get a nice move back down, showing now 82s. So we'll see if it comes back down a little bit more. What am I doing here on UCAR? So I'm in UCAR as well. I'm looking for a volume-weighted average price hold. I've got 41s on. I've already put my stop below, a little bit below the volume-weighted average price just to give it a little bit of room. But if this one wants to move back up to 250, there's the first profit taker into 47s, and we have one at 48. But I'll really add into this position if we can get above that $0.50 level. UCAR is what I'm talking about. Big 278 high, and then it came right back down into, I want to say, the two mid-30s, because that's where the volume-weighted average price is. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. I see it acetane? Yeah, it's low volume. I see that, brother. I was actually complaining about the volume a little bit on square foot, but my line is drawn in the sand. So if I end up losing on the trade, I'll learn a lesson from it. But I'm going to give this one a try. I've seen these patterns before where they set up above the volume-weighted average price all day, they lose it, and then they come back up to kind of lure in buyers and then drop right back down. This may not be one of those situations. If it's not, I'll learn my lesson. But we're going to give this one the old college try to see what we can get on it. I also want to point your attention to Faraday futures coming back down into the 20. This is where the money fill was before, right around 1150. So be on the lookout for that. Now, if Faraday loses that level, that 20 penny level on a closing basis, I wouldn't be so gung-ho, but keep an eye out on that one. That could be a good one as well. What are we doing here on square foot? Now, this one's still trending towards that $4 area, so we'll see if we get clipped on this one. But yeah, this one looks like it's moving up quite aggressively. I'm out of the money about this, but 20 pennies. But my line in the sand is at $2, so we'll see what this one has to offer, Joey. Raya apparently is moving up and moving up aggressively. You want to cover that?
Yeah, sure, man. Absolutely. We'll talk about it because I guess I'm small cap now. We're small cap bros, essentially. So yeah, we'll take a look at Raya. This name has been pretty good today, right? And the volume is substantial. I'm still trying to wrap my head around this stuff, but considering the size and the value of these stocks, it makes a lot of sense, right? Like here it is, up to $1.07, strong moves in the pre-market. I was looking at it in the pre-market as well as it started to curl over and then just goes on this absolute beautiful run. Now you're putting in that $1.10 high. 89 cents, that's a pretty quick move, right? Relatively fast. So I wouldn't be surprised if it hits the Hall parameters relatively soon. I'm out at 127 here on PLTR. Let's pull up RAYA and see what we have going on. Now, Sharif has his halt bands as well, but that's substantial. You're up now 140% in this name, and it looks like the tape is going to be remaining strong. You have one more volatility or volume spike step in. I think it's going to be a massive halt. But be prepared. These things can flush relatively quick. I've learned my lesson on them. And yeah, these things move with extreme volatility. All right. Son of Daniel Cheese Tycoon, what's going on, brother? With all these billionaires leaving Cali, now might be a good time to pick up a new mansion by issuing a few million more shares of SCDI.
Oh.
Sorry, shareholders. Wow, you're gonna do that to us? You're gonna dilute just like that. All right, shareholders. But Frederick Von Yummy
cold, bro.
Like sunshine. And then Jedi says, please check out CVLT. We can take a look at that here momentarily. CVLT. Yeah, I can't believe you did that to the shareholders already. And I like the dividend that I was collected. There's no volume in this CVLT Commune Vault system. I know Adara was talking about it not too long, but the volume just stepped in about 10-15 minutes ago. And yeah, I don't really love this because look how illiquid it is on all the lower time frames until the volume really stepped in.
Yeah, CVLT, Casey just calling it out. So this is rocketing up, guys. This is a big move. Let's have a look at this on a trading screen over here. CVLT, the ticker on the NQ? I think so, CVLT. Look, oh my days. This is one of those halters. Okay, so it did halter already. 85 and a third. Here comes 90. This is very aggressive, guys, but I just have to keep my eye here on square foot as it dips back into the 80s. Okay, so what's the move here? 9.5, 91. This is going to move dollars and like in seconds. This is likely going to $100. CVLT, 12.5%. What a rocket ship. It did have a little bit of selling after the initial halt. So it was a 5-minute halt. It's a 90... telling me 90.80 high, but I know that's not the fact. 91.40 high, I believe, is the level. So keep your eye out on this one if you are inclined for these big movers. But if you get this close to 100, usually you give it a glance. Limit up is 95.65. So trade this carefully, guys. It can rip your face off, but it also can make you a lot of money. Use the proper risk parameters, obviously, I would suggest. So just going to keep my eye out on that one. CVX, it's dead, says Leanne. Why, Leanna? Sorry, I called her Leanne. Not allowed. CVX, let's have a look. Well, it's bouncing a little bit. I think it's making a VWAP retracement, Leanne, at about 188 and change. It's got some higher lows here. I'd be careful, though, for a VWAP rejection, if that's what you're thinking, if you're thinking long. I'm not sure what your setup is on that. Let's look at the daily. Yeah, obviously, we're going to be off the highs with, the belligerencies possibly calming down. You never really know how this is going to be, but it's just right around the 50 period moving average, right around that level. Let's see how it closes. This was a great trade, obviously, from January onwards with the Maduro thing, and then obviously it continued with the start of the issues in the Middle East. So something to go for there, Leanna. I think it's very much headline driven, if you're asking my opinion. There are great fundamentals as well for that company. They've obviously got a lot of operations now in Venezuela, XOM, Chevron, XOM is ExxonMobil. It's kind of hesitant to go in there because they have their assets seized twice in that country. And then also, I think Occidental made a discovery yesterday in the Gulf of America, the Gulf of Mexico, whatever. And I think Chevron is a partner, I think to the tune of 20 some odd %. You have to double check that. But yeah, I like those companies. I think so long as the current administration is in power, you're going to have an interest in expanding fossil fuel extraction and energy independence in that traditional way. I think if the political landscape changes, you need to rethink that as well. Like if the Democrats come in, then you kind of what their drum set is going to be. So that's my little.
That's your stance there. Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to try this one more time. Much better price. We'll give it a couple of minutes here on Palantir. We hit that stop, but I want to try to get back in, but it could break down as the support levels. So this could be a really bad trade. We'll wait for some signals to turn around here. Man, oh man, just like going over my past couple of months of trading, you go from just being like hot like an iron, essentially, to be like, yo, what the heliante is actually going on here? So we got to be a little bit more patient and wait for some higher quality opportunities. I think NVDA can get in. It's just that the market is just not in overly sync with it, and it's just like, yeah, you know what? All right, let's try this one more time. Let's see if we can get a pop. Not too bad. If it breaks through the lows, then that'll be it. We'll hold off there. We don't want to give back too much of what we made earlier on. Palantir, need I pull it up? Obviously have to. PLTR, we had a pretty good one, so we'll go 2 for 3 on the trade so far. A nice little pop to the top side, bouncing off of support levels. We can correlate that with the volume weighted average price, and then now we want to see if we can establish a new pivot high. Right, so we took 30 cents there of a hit, but these moves were nice. These were dollar moves over here. So let's see if Palantir can really get going. If it's going to break down, then we don't want to hold up too much against it, and then we'll sit on our hands. We still got plenty of time left. We'll go through the news. Won't be taking any trades through that. Just waiting for some higher quality opportunities if they display themselves. If not, we have to accept it for what it is, and then come back bright and early Monday morning and wait for a high quality opportunity. But there it is. Some nice signs of strength there, Sharif. This is what we want to see in Palantir. Considering how strong it was. Donald Trump, just mention it one more time. That's all the boy needs. And then sure enough, we're going to have a pretty good time. We're going to diamond hands Deontay Wilder. There's this for hopefully a dollar bill,
yo.
Okay, we're doing the news here relatively soon.
We're starting right now.
Let me take a quick breather, go to the washroom, and then we'll rock and roll.
All right, so Sia, what story are we speaking about first?
We're talking about Apple first. So Apple is gaining despite the weak smartphone market at the moment. Chart right in front of me. So global smartphone shipments have declined 6% year over year in the first quarter alone of 2026. So this is driven by the DRAM and NAND shortages. Memory suppliers are prioritizing AI data centers over consumer devices. I was talking about this yesterday as well. And this is the reason for the tightening supply of these chips. So higher component costs are also forcing the OEMs to raise prices, and Apple alone has captured 21% of the global market share, which now places Apple as the #1 vendor in the first quarter for the very first time. Now, shipments have grown 5% year over year, which is outperforming the broader market if you look at it in depth. And strength is driven by the iPhone 17 demand alone. So aggressive trade-ins and strong supply chain execution is at look here. And we have also seen a notable growth in China, India, and Japan, key global markets. So let's talk about competitors for a second here. Now, Samsung, the shipments are down 6%. Now at 20% share, impacted only by the delayed Galaxy S26 launch. Also, weaker entry-level demand. Xiaomi shipments have fallen 13%, which is due to the pressure by exposure to price-sensitive segments. Also, Oppo and Vivo. Now, Oppo and Vivo do hold stable positions here. Vivo is maintaining a leadership in India, with Oppo also benefiting from early-level strength. But overall, I'm seeing Apple honestly do pretty good, currently trading flat, 0.34%, sending it back to you.
And you brought like the crux of why this is important, at least for me, for Apple. In the face of global smartphone shipments declining 6%, Apple's grew 5%, completely bucking the trend. It's not like you can say, oh, they outperformed the market, or they didn't, or they declined, their shipments declined, but not as bad as the market, so they outperformed them. No, they just straight up did better, and they were positive year over year, 5%. And so obviously that's much to the chagrin or displeasure of their competitors, namely Samsung. Let's just be honest about it. Obviously Google, a big competitor with their phone. Xiaomi, Oppo, Vivo, all shipments fell 13%, 6%. To me, this is also good because Apple is now the #1 global market share. 20% for Samsung, 21% for Apple. And let's be honest about it, right? Let's just be honest about it. It is the new shape of the iPhone that's really moving the needle here. A lot of people were kind of not happy with the 16, kind of held the same shape as the other one. The 15, the 14, the 13, even kind of the 12 is where we kind of got that kind of revamped shape at the time. So I like this. Obviously, there are a lot of other issues with respect to Siri and the new Apple Intelligence that we'll have to resolve, hopefully at WWDC in June. But as we mentioned yesterday, as well, or whatever day it was, there was also rumors that the new flip phone that's going to be released with the Apple lineup in September was encountering some technical difficulties. If you've been following the smartphone market, specifically flips, you know that the screen crease is an ever-persistent problem, as you know, it just has like material fatigue. You keep opening it, you close it, you open it, you close it, and then it creates dents in the glass. My understanding is that they've met that technical challenge with a solution. We'll have to wait and see if it's in real life or what the situation is, Joe. But to me, it's a couple of things.
Yeah.
One, how well the MacBook Neo does and what kind of gross margins they have, whether they'll tell us. We know they're selling a lot of them because they're basically sold out everywhere, from my understanding.
Yep.
Two, the new Apple Intelligence in June, hopefully.
Yep.
And how, you know, that kind of works out. And three, the Apple flip phone.
Yeah, I heard you and Brendo talking about that other flip phone, the foldable phone, not too long, or this morning.
Yep.
And essentially, I forget the brand of it, but it gave you like a couple 100,000 folds before you started to see the wear and tear of it. Obviously, extensive engineering work being put into it. Yeah, Marquez Brownlee talking about it. So yeah, I mean, hopefully, like you said, man, and I think it goes by the quality of their products. Apple isn't going to release this thing unless they believe it's a high quality product and it's going to work the way that they want it to. So let's see how it comes out. I don't know how popular it's going to be. We did a poll, and a lot of individuals said they're not looking to buy the iPhone flip. It's funny how we go from these big devices to smaller, and now we're looking to get a little bit bigger. But nonetheless, I'm looking forward to see it. It's kind of a new product launch, right? Like it's going to be the new thing that's changing. You have a little design tweaks here and there, but as for the fundamental and the hardware standpoint, I think this is the biggest change in the iPhone in quite some time.
Yeah, and I gotta tell you, I'm interested in buying it. Like, I just bought a phone, but I'll
buy that off you.
Yeah, okay. And I keep it in good condition, too.
60% discount.
We'll see at the time what it's selling for, bro. But I'm personally going to get it. Because there was a time where I wanted to get rid of my phone completely and just take an iPad mini.
Yeah.
And that would be my device. I just didn't want anybody calling me. But, you know, I can definitely get behind the 16:9 and a flip thing.
Yeah.
I think we beat this to death. What are we talking about next, Thea?
Talking about Meta next, Sharif. So Meta platform social media lawsuits are expanding. So Meta, we're moving on to the next one? Okay. This is an older story, but there was an update on this. I'm just going to quickly go over the update. Meta has said that it's going to remove ads by law firms on its social media platforms, which seek clients for future lawsuits related to social media addiction. So in a statement this morning to BBC, Meta said that we will not allow trial lawyers to profit from our platforms while simultaneously claiming that they are harmful. Anyways, let's move on to next stories. We have Amazon here. Amazon's CapEx strategy is under scrutiny despite the AI win here. So Needham has maintained Amazon at a buy rating with a $265 price target. Now, this does signal long-term continued confidence, but the market is increasingly focusing on capital allocation discipline and not just the growth alternative, despite what we're seeing here. Now, Amazon is planning nearly $200 billion, as we spoke about it yesterday, in just capital expenditures for 2026. And Amazon may need to stretch its capital, unlike other companies that are heavily dependent and are dependent just by themselves on the free cash flow. Now, this does raise investor concerns around returns and efficiency of such a large-scale investment. But again, as we did recap this yesterday, in a letter to the shareholders of the company this month, CEO Andy Jassy did say that AI will transform every customer experience, justifying this investment. So Amazon does continue to invest across multiple verticals: AI, logistics, satellites, retail, pharmacy, and same-day delivery. And with that, currently Amazon, again, I would say trading flat, 0.33%. No, sorry. Amazon in the positive, 2.07%.
Yeah, exactly. Another great day for Amazon. They had a great day yesterday. They're having another great day today. Look, I have the same thing to say, that I had yesterday, which is it's Microsoft it's Amazon and it's Google who have the best window to actually monetize all the AI CapEx that they're spending money on vis-a-vis their cloud and their neo-cloud divisions. I don't think the Meta has the same kind of position. They don't have cloud service. They're going to have to rely on AI monetization of ads in order to generate that revenue. I think that's a little less clear how, that's going to work. So I love this. I get that, the hyperscalers need to kind of justify all that AI CapEx spend. But what caught my attention is unlike other hyperscalers which fund CapEx through free cash flow, Amazon may stretch capital resources. Also, they're continuing to invest across multiple verticals. So there's concerns that non-AI investments now carry higher risk than AI investments, which is kind of like the opposite that we've been talking about. We've always been talking about the AI investments being the ones that are risky. Well, maybe for other companies, we know that they can monetize this via AWS. So I guess we're going to pause for a second, get your opinion in a second, because we got to go to Adair.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's probably just to update you guys. I'm seeing a couple different headlines here coming from different Israeli media channels about the situation between Israel and Lebanon. So Israel's Channel 11 saying that Prime Minister Netanyahu has changed the policy of attacking Lebanon after receiving a call from Trump. So now at this point, if there is any attack on Beirut, it would require special approval from Netanyahu. Another official, again, reported by Channel 11, said there's no ceasefire, but the intensity of attacks has been, quote, sharply reduced. Furthermore, we've got Hayom, also out of Israel, reporting that there could be an American announcement as early as tomorrow that talks between Israel and Lebanon could be officially opening. So, again, cautious approaches to peace and a ceasefire here. Back to you.
Yeah,
what do you think, Joey?
Yeah. I mean, as for Amazon, we talked about this, just being one of the largest cloud providers. I think it's a step in the right direction. You're going to have individuals who aren't going to like it. The increase in CapEx, I wouldn't be surprised that it might hurt the stock a little bit. It's been up really bad, pretty good off of the lows, essentially. I mean, $200 billion, that might be a slight uptick from what we were seeing before. That's definitely going to surpass what Meta is spending, and the street's not going to like it. But the only thing that I think that we have going for, well, not the only thing, but the best thing going forward here essentially is how they can monetize using Amazon Web Services, which I think is going to be a key driver. And we have to take into consideration how the e-commerce side of things in this name, which essentially is the foundry of this company, is hindered by Donald Trump not having the ability to have more negotiations with President Xi as he's battling things in the Middle East, right? So what happens when that clears over? That stock can rally as well too, right? I think that's what's really weighing on Amazon right now, is because AWS has been growing at a phenomenal clip rate, but we just don't have too much clarity from a tariffs perspective.
All right, let's go to the next story.
We're talking about Tesla again. So Tesla has produced 50,000 or more vehicles than it delivered. And this marks the largest production delivery gap in 4 years. This is a win against the race with BYD, which is also a key thing to make a note of that we've been seeing here. And this signals softening demand and rising inventory. So, which is a key shift from the prior supply-constrained environment that Tesla was in. Now, the imbalance also suggests that Tesla may need to adjust pricing or slow the production if the demand doesn't recover. Now, the $7,500 US EV tax credit is being phased out, which removes a major demand tailwind. Policy changes under the current administration are also reducing consumer affordability incentives, and especially to the US market. But Tesla is facing pricing pressure in key growth markets like we know it, China especially, where affordability is a very critical component. And Tesla has introduced lower price standard versions of Model 3 and Model Y to address affordability concerns. But these reductions are priced up to $5,000, just below premium versions. Helps offset demand softness, but price risk cuts are also in the picture here.
And that's the issue. So we saw the standard versions of the Model 3 and the Model Y. You have to assume that those are lower margin products. I know they refitted them with some older, with less technology, like there isn't a rear screen in some of them. But I think that is the major problem here, is that this new Model 2 or Model Q or whatever he's going to call it is going to be a low margin product. And it's also going to take up capacity. I got to send it to you because I got a breakout here on my hands.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. I'm at a Palantir. That's it. We're going to sit on our hands for the majority of the session here. Nice breakdown. Just before it got out, I'm like, you know what? We kept running into the supply zone 127.38. Then sure enough, now the breakdown's starting to come into play. We'll be patient, man. Going to the short side seems to be the narrative. But no, just to add to Sharif's point, I don't think that's what people want right now. It's like, hey, do we really care about this lower quality, low margin, essentially, vehicle? What do you have for us when it comes to the robo-taxi and the robo-cab and Optimus? This is what everybody's looking forward to. It's funny because we didn't really talk about this, and I think the AV aspect of Elon has been relatively new speaking. I mean, it's been going on for a couple of years, but before that, it's like, yeah, we're forward-looking, but until what, for what? But now we have Optimus, now we have the AV, the autonomous vehicles, and I think he needs to start to pick things up a little bit. Austin obviously was where the geofence started. He expanded. Now you have some of the driverless vehicles. I understand from an FSD standpoint, Tesla has a lot more miles, but if you want to go full autonomy, Waymo is still outpacing Tesla in that aspect. They're on the highway. They're doing a bunch of things. They're in multiple cities. Brenda was telling us the other day that the contract here in the city for Waymo starting in 2027.
Oh,
we've yet to see that.
I can't wait to see how they do in the snow, for real though.
That's the biggest thing, right? Like, you got to see how, but it's so early in this technology that I think it's going to take some time. You're going to have your hurdles. You're going to have your speed bumps. Now, let's not forget the point when it comes to production capabilities, Tesla is going to surpass Waymo. When Brandon and I were talking the other day, when you were on vacation, it's $30,000 for this robo-taxi. You couldn't purchase a Waymo if you wanted to, I don't think.
No, of course not.
Right? So it's like, it's also costs like $230K just to make one of these. But I think just from a regulatory standpoint, the technologies are going to be really, really key in this. I know you got something going on.
That's fine. Yeah, I'm listening to you very intensely.
But it's the technology, I think, is going to play a major factor in how much faster these things can develop, in my opinion.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah. And I don't like the fact that they cancel the X and the S so they can reallocate their production capacity to autonomy, whether that or robotics, so Optimus and or robotaxi, and then all of a sudden they're going to have to reallocate some of that capacity now to this cheaper model. So I don't know how I feel about the whole thing.
Like, how for certain is this model though? Like,
nothing's for certain. It got canceled in 24. We already know that. Elon himself called it pointless. Basically said there was no point in doing it. Anyway, we can go on about it, but I need to speak about SKYQ. We took this at 11.15. Best profit taker up here, I want to say in the 80s, 82. I don't think it's done quite yet. I think this probably has a move into 12, but there is resistance at $12. Just take a look at the candle, 11.45, 11.50. So there is some resistance here. I think if we take out 12 and take it out decisively, we have another shot at that high of day of 12.85. And then possibly even above 13. So going to keep a close eye here on SKYQ. Back into 74 goes. So there's some buying here, and this candle now is turning into a bottoming tail candle. So keeping a close eye on this one. We'll report back to you, and for now, we're sending it back to Sia.
Yeah, we're talking about taking a look at Microsoft here. Microsoft is pushing a Copilot Code Red initiative, which is led by the CEO Satya Nadella, aimed at improving performance and real-world usability. So the key catalyst for this may first launch of the E7 suite with additional features that will be rolling out through the year: Agent Mode, Copilot, Co-work, Critique Council, and Agent 365. So early feedback on this is already improving, which can suggest a certain sentiment around the Copilot, which could inflect positively, but there has been a major overhang on this, and Microsoft has not yet shown strong monetization traction from this venture Copilot, and investors are frustrated given the leadership position in SaaS. Now, competitiveness is rising. The risk is rising with Anthropic, Meta, and others building a rival AI ecosystems as such, which can potentially threaten the future growth of this. And industry analysts are also concerned that Microsoft could be pulled into an AI arms race, even competing indirectly with the partner OpenAI. Now, roughly 30% of new capacity last quarter went into internal AI use, including Copilot and LLM development, and currently Microsoft is trading flat at negative 0.48%.
I was thinking about there, 30% of their new capacity is being used internally. I don't say that's a bad metric. I don't have anything to juxtapose it to. For example, like to see what, OpenAI's internal use percentage is, or Anthropic's, or anybody else's. But it just seems that that's 30% that they're not monetizing of new capacity. So that does concern me a little bit. Secondly, I don't think that Copilot has the best reputation in terms of usability or even usage. I mean, they're forcing people through Office 365 to kind of try to use Copilot, much to people's resistance. So I kind of get why they're trying to monetize this. I think it would probably be better for them if they were to take an enterprise route, which they are, kind of, so that they can just give this through Azure. BNP Paribas believes that Microsoft can still beat consensus Azure expectations in the coming quarters. The drivers, according to the report, include exploding token usage from AI workloads, rising GPU rental prices. That's pretty good because there's a lot of margins there, and that could help support Azure pricing. Microsoft, I mean, I think it's seen better days, down 0.5% today, but definitely off the lows, area lows, I mean.
Yeah, it's been hurt for quite some time. Sharif. But as for the monetization, 30%, I agree with you on that front. We have to take into consideration, I caught heat for quite some time. Everybody's like, Joe might be the only person using Copilot. Yeah, I'm like, okay, yeah, I was using Copilot. Why? Because it was accessible. Open Edge, it was right there.
Right.
But Copilot seems like a thing of the past. Copilot is essentially not one of the go-to AI tools right now. I don't know who's using it. It was convenient, and I think that's why I led to it. Is the convenience still there? Can they monetize it? Is there going to be better options? Like, what would you rather spend your money on? If you're going to go with the paid tier programs, who are you going to spend your money on? Are you going to look at ChatGPT and Claude, or are you going to spend your money on Copilot? I think it's something on the back burner. You obviously have the ecosystem within Microsoft, which can help a little bit, but I just think there's much better tools out there than what they. I liked it too. I liked it too, but I think there's better tools out there right now than what Copilot has to offer.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
I'm not like I use Copilot a lot, but I've dabbled in it.
You dabble, like you use it. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, it's there. The convenience. It was there, right? Like it was literally you hit that button, it's right there on Edge, and sure enough,
hit that.
Yeah. So. Yeah.
See ya.
Yeah, we're talking about oil here. So now oil prices have jumped. WTI and Brent both around the hundreds right now. Strait of Hormuz remains largely closed at the moment as well. Despite a ceasefire agreement, shipping flows are severely restricted, which are keeping markets on edge. And U.S. has warned Iran over alleged tanker transit restrictions, which does risk breakdown of the 2-week ceasefire agreement. There's a lot going around in the market with regards to oil and the Strait right now. So ongoing tensions suggest no reliable framework for safe passage, which again also increase uncertainty. And the Strait, as we know it, is effectively closed. There's no clear communication channels for vessel transit within the Strait. Ships are rerouting closer to Iranian coastlines and are also paying significantly higher transit costs. And the times of voyage are extending to weeks instead of days, which again comes to supply, tightens it, reduces it. And Iranian-linked attacks have also hit Saudi energy infrastructure, which also has led to a reduced output capacity. Production has also been cut by 600,000 barrels per day, with additional 700,000 BPD pipeline flow disruption. Sending it back to you.
And that's the thing. That's the thing. So even though if the Strait opens up, the fact of the matter is, I don't think the Gulf, specifically Saudi Arabia and maybe some Iraqi areas as well that got hit, I don't think that they're going to be producing nearly as much as they had been. So even when the Strait, if the Strait gets opened up in the near term, will the actual physical supply of oil be at the level so that we can get that $60 barrel? I think we were trading at 50 some odd dollar barrel before this whole thing happened. So this is kind of what concerns me, is that the attacks on the infrastructure definitely limit supply. At least, and I remember they were saying the Qatari natural gas fields, they were saying something like 2 years to get that same supply back online. So I think we're definitely going to have a bit more headwinds for a while when it comes to some oil. I don't think we see $50 this year probably.
No, I don't think so either, Sharif. I totally agree with you. But the big question looming for me is, do we look at this kind of in a tariff situation? And what do I mean is that you have some of these other countries start to diversify where they're getting their oil from. You know, Donald Trump pretty much had a sales pitch the other night. He was just saying, yeah, we got more oil than everybody. He was essentially saying, and then buy it from him. I just think it's the fact that it's like, okay, if this conflict is going to be going on and prolonged for quite some time, then why don't you look for other places to gather your resources? If it's happened once, it's probably going to happen again, Sharif. And the conflict over there always seems never ending. So I would be looking, if you're the countries who need it in the eastern side of the world, like the Australias and the Indo-Chinas and everything along those lines, in Indonesia, I'd be looking to grab oil elsewhere just so you can avoid all of this and avoid this hyperinflation that can happen in your
What do you think your boy Carney's been hooking up with Danielle Smith for?
Yeah,
Every time they're together. She's the premier of Alberta. Alberta, if you guys obviously know, the oil producing, one of the oil producing provinces in this country. And the point is, Danielle Smith wants to build an oil pipeline through Alberta, through British Columbia onto the Pacific Ocean for the express purpose of sending that oil to Asia.
Yeah,
it's direct.
I don't understand why they wouldn't do that, right?
Well, you know, because there's natives there that want the coast protected. There are things, right?
Yeah, I understand that. But at the end of the day, we have to, like, listen, Sharif, if you're not going to do it, then someone else will. You're going to have to pay the premium dollar. So it's like, okay, obviously you want to reserve the nature. I love it, but there's ways that you can build around it. In my opinion, the technology and the engineering is there where you can do as minimal damage as possible. There's obviously going to be deforestation and everything along those lines to get the pipeline to where you need to go. Chances of leaks as well, but I think it's just best off for the country, because why are we paying an extended premium? Why are we shipping our oil down to the States and then buying it back from them?
Because we don't refine anything.
We don't refine anything, but that is absolutely ridiculous in my opinion. And we've had the conversation. There should be one in Montreal and there should be one in the West Coast as well. I just don't know why we don't make these moves.
We also have Atlantic off the coast. I think of the Maritimes. We have possible, in the same way that they have in the Gulf of Mexico or the Gulf of America, whatever. So that could be the Atlantic side of things. And then we could have, obviously, the Pacific side of things. But I think that takes a lot of time to build out.
Of course it does, but the more you talk about it, the less things get done. And how long has it been talked about? Like, since the Harper days.
Since the Harper days, It's
Think about how long that's been.
I know, man. It's tough to get things built. I know a lot of people, on the right side of the political spectrum don't like Mark Carney. I think he's doing the right thing. I think he's nothing like his predecessor, and I think it's a matter of time until we see these projects IRL. But we'll have to wait and see. What do we got next year? Oh, we got a super. Dave, shout out to my man Dave. He's dropping 5. Glass wing. Mythos, apathia, Anthropic isn't first containment breakout? I don't know what that means. Isn't first containment breakout? What does that mean, brother? I don't know what that means. Do you understand what that means?
Say that again.
It's the super right there. Glass wing. I know Mythos or Mythos or whatever is the new the LLM by Anthropic, that I know. Apathia. Anthropic isn't first containment breakout. I don't know what that means.
I have no idea. It sounds like some.
Thank you for the super chat.
Sounds like some 28 days later.
Sorry, 1 sec, Joey. There goes SKYQ. Here comes 12. We're right back in. There's a seller at 90. Watch out. There's a big seller at 90. All right, so we got it out at 80s. That's my best out so far on this latest trade. We're looking for a little bit more. I've got a bit of a bias that this probably touches or breaks 12, but 12 is the area we are earmarking. There's 90. I'm going to go on the north side of 12. I'm going 1207s for a liquidity tester. 94 seller now on SKYQ, but this is a great breakout. There's 12. We just touched 12, but no crossing of $12 there. So good move here. Watch out for the rejection at 12, but if it clears 12, oh, baby. Oh, baby. We could be up on the way. 11.99 seller here, Joey. Big seller at 11.99 that we can't shake. So we're gonna have to pack the patience on this one. But good luck. Any comments about?
We just talked about oil for a long time.
Okay, so let's send it back to Sia for Taiwan.
I mean, we can go on some more if you want.
I think we're good, Jeff.
Definitely, you could go on some more right after this, though. TSMC is surging on AI demand. So TSMC has reported a Q1 revenue of $1.13 trillion, which is $35.6 billion, beating the expectations and marking a 35% year-over-year increase. March alone has seen a 45.2% year-over-year surge. Now, this is highlighting the accelerating demand into quarter end, and all thanks to, as we know it, you guessed it right, AI-driven led strength. Now, explosive demand for AI chips from major clients like Apple and NVDA continues to fuel growth, yes, but data center and AI infrastructure spending is remaining the dominant driver of advanced semiconductor demand, and analysts are expecting TSMC to definitely exceed its 30% annual growth target. So this, to me, is showing no signs of a slowdown. TSMC has raised prices on most advanced chips, which is contributing meaningfully to the revenue beat. Now, expected gross margins are around 64%, which is signaling a strong pricing leverage in, I would say, a constrained supply environment. And TSMC has retained the position of being one of the only manufacturers capable of producing leading-edge chips, obviously, alongside Samsung and Intel. And here's why TSMC, sorry, I mispronounced it, TSMC is at advantage here, because even as more companies are continuing to design chips and manufacturing, the manufacturing of bottlenecks still routes through TSMC, and that's why they will be at an advantage.
That's a fact, Sia. If you want 2 nanometers, there's only one place you can go. If you want 3, there's generally only one place you can go. I get Intel's at 3 now. I get Samsung's at 3, but they don't have the same capacity as Taiwan Semi. And Joey, as I was telling Brendo this morning, who does this company think it is? NVIDIA? 64% gross margins on a physical product. NVIDIA's at like at 72 or 73. If you have over 50% gross margins on a physical product, it typically means you have a defensible moat. Right? And so you got to love this. You got to love the fact that as well, that they're building out more capacity in the United States, so they're going to benefit. Sorry, I didn't mean to steal that from you.
You stole it from me.
I didn't mean to, brother. I didn't mean to. We think alike, though. But no, let's serious. I think even if the political winds change in the United States, that I think the Dems will also be pro-building in America as a general kind of tailwind or a general, let's just call it, direction, okay?
Absolutely.
So I think that, building their plants in America is definitely was a good tactical move.
Dude, you know what?
I don't know how you feel about that.
No, I feel the exact same way, and it's going to kind of lead to my point. Look how key this has been for essentially the workforce and just how we work from a day-to-day perspective, is that America's we're going to be first in the market to get everything addressed. And look what it's done for them. Everybody, if you're not using some of these tools, you're falling behind. If you're not building something along those lines, then it's what are you actually doing? If you're not building data centers, the way that the economies are moving, I think it's really important that you play this game and get involved with this stuff, because there's a reason why the Facebooks, the Apples, the Metas, the Microsofts, the NVDAs are the largest companies in the world, is because the American regulation allows them to grow and expand.
Absolutely.
And I think that's something really important. It's unfortunate that other people are just caught up in this regulatory scrutiny, that it's hey, you're hindering your own growth at the end of the day. People, think about it. The EU is fining these American companies left, right, and center. But it's hey, why don't you just start building your own stuff so you don't have to do this, essentially?
Can I say one thing as well? That I do like how the company is able to pivot in a way that looks pretty flexible given their size. So they were primarily known for manufacturing chips for the
NVDA.
smartphone. TSMC. For the smartphone market. All of a sudden, we're talking about smartphones shipments down 6% year over year. sending capacity to where they make more money,
exactly,
which is the data centers.
It's like, who cares about the smartphone shipments?
Exactly.
When you have these insane margins, when you're building these chips for NVDA, like just throwing them cash essentially at the end of the day.
Homie. All right, just before we, actually, let's get a Dara's take, and then we're going to cover this super chat.
Yeah, I'll take a look here at TSM's revenue because I find this to be really impressive. We have TSM reporting formal earnings on Thursday morning, so next Thursday, even though, of course, they already released their monthly sales. But yeah, I mean, guys, like, it's crazy. They took, in 2000, we had like roughly $4 billion USD revenue. Last year, well over $100 billion. This is a really impressive trajectory for the company. Shout out to CEO CC Wei, who was not there for this entire trajectory, was certainly there for, I think, the acceleration of this revenue. What we're expecting from TSM's earnings on the morning of Thursday, April 16th, we're looking for earnings per share of $3.29, revenue estimate of $35.4 billion. Sounds like we already beat that, so good look for TSM. But here's the other thing, guys. These monthly sales reports, as you could guess by the name, they come out every single month. So usually the ones for the next month will come out like, you know, a little bit, like a week or so after the last month ended. So, for example, you got April 10th here as the release date for the March sales, right? The point I'm trying to make is this is a repeated catalyst. This is a catalyst you get 12 times a year. So be aware of these types of catalysts and companies that have them. Other examples include Costco every month with their sales results for the month. You've also got the likes of Robinhood. They'll release monthly updates here for their engagement. So there are certain companies that give you these opportunities for monthly catalysts, especially, you know, if you're happen to be in a situation where you're comfortable trading them post-market when they're released in the cases of Costco and Robinhood. So type of catalyst to be aware of, and this stock we'll certainly be talking about next week on earnings.
Let's go, SKYQ, man. Let's go. Here we go again. Up into 12 and a quarter. No continuation, though. We've got 1140s here. I have my profit taker at 33, so I've got it at the third of a dollar. But if we're above 12 here, we should really be continuing above 12. We know that there was resistance in this 12 area. I'm packing the patience. I'm looking for that third of a dollar. We still have more outs, so I want to see if we can get even a bit higher on this one. But, you know, it's still dilly-dallying here with 12. I know, sorry, the position board is out by my cost basis is $11.44. I stop out below the half dollar. I put $11.50 as my trailing stop. No continuation, sadly. Above 12 at the moment. Let's get to that super chat, man. Anthropic, Claude Mythos. Yes, okay.
Yeah, we did that one.
No, he resent it because I didn't understand. Broke out of its sandbox and posted on public websites its exploit and emailed its developers to show off, not sci-fi. So I completely understand what you're saying. That's not what the company's saying, though. The company's saying that it was leaked and that, you know, they tried to get it under control, and in fact, any account that viewed the leak, they suspended. Anthropic, you know, they're pretty cutthroat with how they operate over there, and they're willing to give you very little leash. But I see what you're saying. You're coming at it a different way. You're saying that it was so smart. It was, I guess, self-aware. Should I use that line, Terminator? But seriously, though, that it sent itself to people. That's what you're saying. Obviously, I don't think the company, even if that happened, they probably wouldn't say that right away. But that's what you're saying here. Broke out of its sandbox and posted on public websites its exploits and emailed its developers to show off, not sci-fi. Did anybody else read that? Because I read more along the lines of that it was leaked by somebody who had viewed it. And the reason that they were so paranoid about the leak is because what's it called? It's the one that can go into operating systems and traditional legacy systems that companies use for ATMs and banks and whatever, and figure out exploits that humans haven't been able to find.
Skynet.
Yeah. I don't know. Mythos even said it would cover its own tracks. Oh my God.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, okay, it's getting crazy over here, but that's the situation, Sia. That's where we find ourselves in at the moment.
We're moving on to Alibaba. Baba's AI surprise Happy Horse model has topped global rankings, and this was unexpected. So Happy Horse 1.0 has emerged anonymously on global AI leaderboards before being confirmed as a project by Baba ATH AI Innovation Unit. So the model has been quickly ranked #1 in blind tests for both text-to-video and image-to-video generations. And now this move signals investors investor appetite for credible AI breakthroughs, especially in under-penetrated segments like video generation, we can see here an AI narrative continues to act as a multiple expansion driver for large cap tech globally. So now video generation is emerging as a key AI frontier, and Happy Horse could position Alibaba as a leader in the space. Let me tell you why. Because competing efforts have been diminished. OpenAI has stepped back from Sora as we know it due to high compute costs and strategic reprioritization. ByteDance has paused Cdance 2.0 amid copyright and legal challenges. So what am I coming to? This is a great thing for Baba because it opens a window to Alibaba to capture market share in a less crowded field. And as a reaction to this, the Hong Kong listed shares of Alibaba closed at 2.12% higher Friday after the news of its involvement, and the stock rose 6.75% on Wednesday trading. Now, CEO Eddie Wu has also said made the AI core strategic priority, which is spanning cloud, chips, and applications. And Baba already leverages AI across its e-commerce, advertising, and entertainment. Now, Happy Horse, ending with Happy Horse, could be integrated into this ecosystem, and it could drive cross-platform engagement as well as a good revenue growth.
I agree. And the fact that these two very, very robust video generating AI platforms seem to be coming out of China, whether it's Happy Horse 1.0 from Baba, or what was the other one called? Cdance 2.0. Who remembers the video of Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt fighting online? That looked real. And all the while, you're seeing American tech companies step away from it. For example, OpenAI leaving Sora or saying we got to reallocate sources somewhere else, perhaps maybe to go after enterprise, to follow after Anthropic's model. I heard that that was a bit of a panic internally for OpenAI. So this is an eyebrow raiser, the fact that all these video generating, the good ones anyway, video generating AI services seem to be coming out of China, man.
Yeah, I mean,
and apparently they don't have the best chips.
Have you seen?
How are they doing that, Joey?
Yeah. Have you seen some of the videos?
They're fantastic. That's the one I just talked about. Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt.
Like there's other ones like animated videos that you see. It's like, oh wow, this is generated in a matter of a couple of minutes. Fabian and Assassino may know about these things, but they're also like, these things can create a picture and then make it into a video game. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
It's
There's
absolutely
two types,
insane.
right?
Yeah.
There's text to video and picture to video.
And it's just like, wow. Like you can create a picture and then make essentially a whole video around it. What is this gonna do for some production companies? Like, I think the CGI has gone downhill somehow. I don't know, the Jurassic Parks get worse.
Can they hear you? Okay.
He said so. Fabian said they're still far from working because they're very uncanny. Essentially.
Oh, Casey.
Go on. Yeah. Okay.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Which is fair. I see. I know what you're talking about. So he's saying essentially the video will break after you input the video, the picture to say like, hey, generate this or that. But nonetheless, the technology is still extremely early, and I think what they can do right now is absolutely insane. Some of the videos that they can produce are just like, wow, that was done in a matter of minutes, opposed to like, imagine what Pixar, like Disney's Pixar can do and stuff like this, right? Like just generate how much time they spend on building some of these animated films.
But I think that's the issue. And I think that's the issue. Like, remember when SAG, after or whatever, that union for the actors?
Yeah.
You remember that they wanted nothing to do with AI. In fact, they wanted it as to be part of the agreement that AI wouldn't be used or would be used in limited ways. I think that, again, it comes down to that same dichotomy we've been having, that the East seems to be espousing AI a lot more aggressively than the West. The West is concerned about jobs.
Yeah.
The East seems to be taking more of a laissez-faire approach. And this is, I think, more of an extension of that.
Which is fair. Yeah.
We'll see. Let's just shout out Casey, 526, man, dropping 20 Trader TV Live gifted memberships. We got Hypercube, you got one, Dijon Mustard, Frederick, Pirate Genetics, Jiffy, John 7, I-24 Strikia, Down C, all you guys, Sando Glove, Jimmy C, it's Mooncat. All you guys got a free Trader TV Live membership vis-a-vis KC526, and I'd have to show you our YouTube channel so you know where you can get my morning note every day. Let's just flip over here. Let's go into the other one. And here it is, guys. Just mosey on over to Trader TV, view your channel. And then right under posts on the top, click that bad boy right there, mosey on down, hit read more. You know, it's kind of hard to find. And there she is every day. We put it out right before we go live at 8 a.m. Thank you to KC526 for gifting everybody Trader TV Live. Well, not everybody, a lot of people. Trader TV Live memberships. All right, guys, SKYQ having a lot of trouble with 12. It's got higher lows, but it's got a lot of topping tails that go through that $12 area. So there's clearly an aggressive seller at $12. You need to be alive to that because it could fail. So what I'm going to do is I've moved up my stop, as I mentioned, to 1150. I'm in at 1144, so we'll capture some profits that are left. If not, I'm looking at wetting the beak at 12 1/3, and then I'm going to let this one go, probably even a little bit higher if it does allow me. So keeping a close eye here on SKYQ. What do we got next, Sia?
Sharif, we're talking about China's inflation next. So China's PPI has risen 0.5% year over year, marking the first increase since September of the year 2022. And this ends a prolonged deflationary cycle for China. Now, this signals a shift from demand weakness towards cost-driven inflation. Now, just on a quarterly basis, PPI has still declined 0.6% year over year, showing us that the recovery is still in its early stages, but it is coming. Now, CPI has increased 1% year over year, missing the expectations and slowing from the prior month. Core CPI has come in at 1.1%, indicating a limited underlying demand strength, and inflation remains below policymakers' comfort zone, which is around 2%, giving room for potential easing now if needed. So China, as we're all aware, is the largest global oil importer and is directly exposed to rising input costs. And this has raised fuel prices in China, again, with gasoline and diesel between the 400 to 420 yuan range per ton recently. Gasoline has surged 11.1% month over month, which is reflecting a rapid pass-through from global oil markets. And right here, I do have the statement from the State Council Information Office of China.
This is an issue I think that China's been having for a while. And we've seen them have to kind of go in and generate, let's be honest about it, artificial demand for their products, whether it's vis-a-vis cell phone subsidies, right? Which the iPhone 17, I think, base model qualified for, hence why it was so well received in China, or whether it was EV subsidies that they were giving to stimulate demand from consumers to buy domestic EVs. And then we saw, obviously, a shift by a lot of those Chinese EV companies wanting to sell outside of China because they were exhausting their market. So there seems to be a little bit of consumer weakness in China, which is leading to a bit of deflation. Look at that. 0.6% year over year, still showing some on a quarterly basis. PPI declined. CPI only increased 1% year over year. That misses expectations, slower from the prior month. So this seems to be an issue. And the housing issue as well hasn't found a bottom there at all. So I feel like China still has a consumer problem, maybe not a production or a technology problem. They seem to be,
I think that's where they've been accelerating, right? Like, it's like, hey, just from a production standpoint, and I think that was the whole onshoring idea from Donald Trump, essentially, too. Is like, man, these guys are producing much. But as for the consumption aspect, well, I don't know anything about the housing state, what they're heavily on the decline, or?
Oh, brutal. Their housing sectors, dude, you got like all these buildings are these developer companies like Evergreen and whatever, or
Did you see what
Evergarden.
They were doing?
Huh?
You seen what they were doing, like all the ghost cities there?
That's the thing, right? That's the thing. So the bottom dropped off during COVID and it hasn't recovered. So the Chinese government's been pumping in subsidies in so many different sectors.
Yeah, we've seen it with the iPhone, right? That from like the buying iPhones, even from the EVs as well. But I think with China is that you just had so many people in a short period of time lifted, and they created that middle class essentially. But it's just, you know what I'm talking about. Like, so that middle class was created, but it's typically the high-end consumer, because I think from a luxury goods standpoint, you go into the higher-end things, China's still flourishing. A lot of the sales going over into that neck of the woods.
All right, Sia, what do we got next?
So we are talking about Paramount-Warner deal. So this is just like a recap I would like to run down through. So Paramount is securing a multi-billion-dollar debt package to finance its merger with Warner Bros. Discovery. Now, we're seeing a lot happening with Paramount, Warner, and Netflix. So the financing includes a large syndicated loan and credit facilities, which is backed by assets from both these companies. And this deal is expected to be one of the largest media financing packages in years, highlighting a scale of the merger kind of thing. So the combined entity is projected to carry nearly $80 billion in net debt, significantly increasing leverage. And Paramount currently holds $10.36 billion in net debt, while Warner Bros. Already has substantial existing obligations. So the transaction creates a highly leveraged media giant, raising concerns about financial flexibility. And traditional media firms are consolidating to compete with tech-driven streaming platforms, and scale is becoming critical for content production, distribution, and subscriber growth, and currently PSKY down almost 2%.
First of all, there goes SKYQ into my beak water there at 33s. For the love of God, just hold 12. Let's go, man. Let's get to 13 here on SKYQ. But there's a profit taker. We're looking for a little bit more now. Let's see if we can get in to about 1285. That is the high of the day. And if we can get there, I think we probably move into 13. But I really want to focus on this, Joey. And the fact that they hold $10.33 billion in net debt, and Warner Brothers already has substantial existing obligations does concern me. And the reason is, they have one choice and one choice only. Either they take on these debts, new debts, I'm assuming, and merge to be able to take on the Amazons, the Apples, all the big tech, and the Netflix. How could I forget about that? The big tech companies who have the deep pockets for the production to pay the best actors, to have the best sets and whatever they do. Basically, the production costs are through the roof. And as a result, you got to take on debt and merge to take them on. So is it a sustainable business model with all that debt that they're holding while their competitors, the tech companies, don't?
I think the catalog is good. I think what they can have and they can produce with the catalog is really important. But I think we get to the point where we're asking the question, did Larry overpay? Right? I think so. I think so. I don't think that's a good thing. The debt is obviously going to be massive, but I think it's just what you can do. Is it worth it? I think it's how you can maximize the catalog that you get from this, right? Like, you have to have some of these TV shows come be like the best of the month, the best of the year, and start winning more awards. Like, you have the Netflixes and the Stranger Things being one of the best series, the Game of Thrones coming from HBO, essentially. I don't know if Paramount has that ability to do those types of things, and I think that's going to be extremely important, whether it's going to be worth it or not. You have to take full advantage of what you're going to be receiving, and maybe this can help subsidize a little bit of this.
They got a good catalog, you got to admit, right?
Warner Brothers has an amazing catalog. It's just, Adair and I both agree on this, we don't have the utmost confidence in Paramount to maximize the potential of that catalog, right? Like, I think Netflix would do a substantially better job and continuously top the charts. I don't know if Paramount can do that with what we've seen from them before.
Respect that. Time will tell.
Time will tell.
See ya. Oh, it's 2
o'clock. Your boy's got to head back over to that.
All right.
Momentarily, Sharif, I'll let you close things off.
Absolutely.
Let's scurry back over there.
All right, man. Let's get right back into it here. I just want to talk about some of these trades because, guys, SKYQ is still putting in higher lows. This is an unbroken trend here. Despite the ugly and annoying, often annoying topping tail candles, look at these candles over here. They haven't breached prior bar low. So if you're using the simple follow technique of just moving up your stop to prior bar low, you have not been wicked out. And here we come again into 1250. Ultimately, it's a 1285 high. But my bias is if we get above that 1250, we're likely going to touch 13. So, trade this as you may. But here we go again with 1240. To be fair, to the shorts on SKYQ, they've been pretty resilient here. Look at all these topping tail candles. They don't happen by accident. This is aggressive shorting and or profit taking at these levels. So for now, the bulls are winning. Whether or not we're going to be able to win above 12.5 and then possibly above 13, your guess is as good as mine. But we're going to keep a close eye on this one. We're going to send it over to the boys in a second. I did want to talk sadly, about a losing trade that I had. You know, I don't usually short these small cap gappers, but we took the shot today on square foot. Didn't work out for me. I had an opportunity to break even on this one as it did dip down or close to break even at around the low 80s. I insisted on holding, thinking that we could maybe make a move back to 350. But if I had to guess, square foot, if it breaks above 4, it's going to make another move and possibly take out the high of the day. Just like SKYQ is now, here we go again, ladies and gentlemen, into 1269. Again, don't forget, it's a 1285 high. So we're moments away now from touching that 1285 high. If you've got some, shares left, maybe wet the beacon around, this 12.5 area, but save the piece for the dream. Breaking above that 1285 and possibly on the 13. Very happy with this trade. Wished I had a bit more shares, but